What to do? I need to make a video, but I don't know what to make. I could beat a level. No, that requires being good at the game. Who am I kidding? I could make a layout. No, I already have too many layouts as it is. What do I do? Oh, I know!
Extreme demons play a big part in Geometry Dash, and there's a whole lot of them. Most important levels nowadays are in that coveted extreme category that is far too broad. But I'm not talking about that, or how 1.9 was better. Instead, I'm talking about every rated extreme demon in Geometry Dash and what I think of it. Now, there's over 250 extreme demons in Geometry Dash, so I have two options. Make this a series, or destroy my sanity. You read the title of this video, so you know what I chose. And a quick side note before we begin. I began writing this on August 7th, 2020. So the order I go in is based on the order at that date. No new levels were added to the top 50 in that time. However, the order was changed around a couple times. So without further ado, let's begin with false advertising. The Golden is a level by Bow to the 7th and more, and was verified by nSwish on April 17th, 2020. It's supposedly based off of El Dorado by LM Anubis. I'm very mixed on this level. The gameplay flows quite well to the song Thunder Zone V2, and the deco doesn't look bad, but it really blends together. I didn't even know this was by more people until recently, which isn't a great look. In Mega Collabs, you should stick to the established theme if there is one, but you should also make your part unique, so people go, oh, that's James's part, rather than
the stupid wave at 50.
I'm also not a fan of how every bloody portal and orb is invisible, for reasons that I hope are obvious.
Overall, not a terrible level by any means, but I still hate it because it's not Golden! Why would you name it the Golden if it isn't Golden? You piece of sh**! Tartarus kinda blows.
Tartarus is a level that was not verified by Mulsey. It's a really fucking old level by Raya and more that was originally called Silent Act, but thank God for name changes. Even for 1.9 standards, which is the update that this was made in and styled around, this is really subpar. The deco looks hella messy in some parts and looks decent at best. The gameplay is nothing to write home about, fixed hitboxes and all. Honestly, this is just one of those levels that people like because Riot poked it a couple times and said, yeah, this is mine. It's still a really big accomplishment, don't get me wrong, but looking at it from a critical standpoint, it just doesn't hold up at all, which is a real shame since Mulsey's journey on this was the stuff of legends. And as far as I know, his completion is the only completion of a level to take over 200,000 attempts, which really does show Mulsey's dedication to completing this monster, even if he didn't end up verifying it. Zodiac is a level that had 15 different hosts and an illegitimate verifier, yet still managed to remain rated without a re-verification. This is likely due to Technical beating the level and being its first victor before Xander, its supposed verifier, was exposed for speed hacking the level. Zodiac is the only top one in recent memory to not have a specific theme at all. The level's not terrible, it just isn't that memorable beyond a couple parts and the fact that it was, you know, the hardest demon in the game at one point. I do have to say, I like this level a lot more than I did when it was initially rated and placed, but it's still got its issues. Like, the fact that Shock broke the game says, what kind of witchcraft bullshit is this? Kinos is a reimagining of the old and terrible 1.9 level Sakup in Hell by Nubas. Not that I needed to tell you that. The names clearly show their relation. Kinos went through a couple verifiers before landing with then relatively unknown player nPesta, who ended up beating it on December 14th, 2019 after 8 months and 135,000 attempts. The level's gameplay changed a couple times, with nPesta super buffing it to be harder on 240Hz, but later nerfing Spectex's wave to balance the level a bit more. As to the level itself, I like how it looks. Each part looks unique and does something different with the red and black color scheme. The trade-off is that a lot of the parts don't fit well together, but it's not too bad. It is funny that npesta, the king of bad luck, didn't die at Splash, which is the last part and very difficult. But nearly everyone else who has beaten it has died at Splash multiple times.
Overall, Kinos is a pretty good reimagining of a particularly terrible 1.9 demon, and overall, it's a pretty good level. Crimson Planet is not that.
Where do I begin with you, huh? Crimson Planet is a level made by some people in Trusta, and was verified by Wooshi on May 18th, 2018, and rated nearly a year later. This is not a good level in my opinion. People complain about how all red levels look the same, which is false, but this does not set a good precedent. Like, here, which parts from Crimson Planet and which parts from Bloodlust? They're both from Yatagarasu. The gameplay, though, the gameplay is the worst part of this level. I feel physical pain from watching it, and I haven't even beaten an extreme demon.
Overall, I can safely say this is the worst top 5, and the worst top 10.
Renovant is the long awaited sequel to Allegiance by Nickrodox, or Nickroplays, which was an old 2.0 level often considered to be a great starting point for beginner extreme demon grinders who had beaten levels like Cataclysm or QFP and were looking for a harder challenge. Allegiance, however, had some problems. It was hard to see what was going on, and there was some brutal timing for its difficulty. Now take those problems, magnify them 1,000 times, and toss it through a meat grinder, and you have Renovant. Also make it as hard as shit. Renovant is filled to the brim with frame perfect clicks and stupid hard wave sections. I really see no reason for this, considering that this isn't even the final level in the series. That crown goes to Anathema, which will undoubtedly be harder and probably worse. What I would have done if I was Nickrodox is update Allegiance to its unnerfed state so it's closer in difficulty to Renovant. Then make Renovant a top 70 or top 80, and then leave Anathema as the top 10 or the top 20. We don't live in a perfect world though, so we're stuck with this garbage fire.
At least it can't get any worse. Exactly, it can't get any worse.
Cognition is a level made by Benji and decorated by N-Level. It was verified by nSwish, who actually had a bit of a reaction when he beat it.
No.
It's a pretty unique level in terms of gameplay. You can't really find anything else like it. It's very focused on having very tight timings and a lot of red orbs you're not supposed to hit, making it an even playing field so the guy who can click fast and has a 700 GHz monitor isn't like,
I win!
From what I've seen and heard of people who have beaten this, it seems to get quite consistent but pretty infuriating near the end. It's definitely not a bad level by any means, but I have to say I'm not a huge fan of the deco. It's not bad, but I feel like something more could have been done with it.
Why do people hate this level? Huh.
Thinking Space is a level older than time itself. It was created by Hidaiki X about 5 or so years ago, but wasn't verified until mid-2019, when Atomic pulled through and beat the bloody thing like the mad lad he is. It was then raided about a year later, a couple days before April Fools, which caused the community to go fucking mental, which was really sad to see, but that's
irrelevant. 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 What is it? Irrelevant.
Anyways, the level itself. It's infamous for being very unbalanced, which is very obvious even from just watching the thing. I mean, come on, the first 20% is literally just straight flying, clicking a couple orbs. And then look at like 78, and what the fuck is that gap? As for the decoration, it's definitely in my top 9,000 levels that were made in 2.0. Overall, it's not a whole lot here. It's not the worst top 10, not by a long shot. Bloodlust is cool, I guess. There's good deco, but not pin it on the fridge good, and gameplay's fine as well. There's just nothing I find interesting about this. There is one exception, being that corridor section before Terran. I've always found this to be a really cool and unique concept for gameplay. It's a little short, but it's still a good part in a relatively okay level. This level makes me feel one thing.
Why?
Calculated Core is a remake of Artificial Ideology. Why they chose to name it after a math game you'd find at the discount bin of Walmart instead of something cool like Artificial Ideology is beyond me. The original level looked dated and messy, but it had a charm to it that made it endearing. This remake triples the length, difficulty, and object count, and ends up being worse in every regard. Monochrome levels are hard to make look good, but a step in the right direction is to not have the level be longer than the Soviet Union's entire existence to prevent everything mushing together into one big clump. Another off-putting thing is these random bits of color in Hell Pegasus, which really stand out. Like, I get that's supposed to be the teleport portals, but the whole level's gray. You just have these bits of blue and orange. It's just wrong. The gameplay is also just boring to look at, and I bet it's boring to play. Once again, like with Bloodlust, there's one part that stands out to me, and that's Voltrix's part. The part just flows so well with the movement, and the gameplay just looks very fun to play. That's all that stands out, though. The rest of the level is just grey. Lucid Nightmares is a level by Kyrox and Donut TV and was verified by Wooshi. LN is a weird case where it's very satisfying to watch it, but it is the 10th circle of hell to play. The problem a lot of people have with it is the amount of shitty transitions, which demolish consistency. There's also an awful amount of wave transitions into ship without a block to support the ship's movement, which is a sin, by the way, in case you were wondering. The level looks pretty good, it's colorful and it's flashy, but it's not insanely object heavily. It's still terrible to play, but it looks kinda cool, I guess. Demos is the first level in npesta's patented verify a level that ends in OS and then destroy everyone's eardrums series that includes this and Kinos. Demos is much worse, however. It's a remake of the old and terrible 1.9/2.0 level, Phobos.
I'm noticing a pattern here.
Demos, unlike Kinos, is a direct redecoration of unnerfed Phobos. Demos suffers a lot from all the parts being so different from one another and not fitting together at all. This was a problem with Phobos, but it's amplified in Demos because every single creator using different colors and decoration styles. In terms of gameplay, it is literally hard Phobos with an insane duel at the end, or, in layman's terms, boring. In the end, it's possible, but I never think of it too highly. Arctic Lights is the sequel to Hyperparacosm and the prequel to Aquatic Auroras and Azure Flare. It was verified by MetalFace221 and created by Virus and N-Level. The level does look a lot better than Hyperparacosm, but at the trade-off of playing worse. Hyperparacosm does not play well to start with, and Arctic adds a lot more of that, but in 4 times speed, making it even worse. I personally think the level's fine, but N-Levels should stop making 9 circles levels in these style, because they really grow old fast. It's just a fine level, honestly.
Oh, I know that word! It's from Thor!
Ragnarok is a very mixed bag. A lot of the parts look really good, but some parts really stick out, Enlex and Garo to be specific. Most people who have beaten this have had awful experiences with this. Another thing is that Knobbelboy's wave, which is the last part of the level, is extremely buggy and broken, and it's the last part of the level. It's basically like an appetizing looking carton of spoiled milk. It's cool to look at, but it's bad to experience.
Oh god, they're here. The Korean levels. These levels are infamous for being really weird and really awful to play. Oh, thank God it's you.
Visible Ray is proof that nerfing is necessary to making a good level. If left unnerfed, VR would likely be harder than Crimson Planet and much worse to play. But Setaran, the level's verifier, nerfed a lot of the parts to make it better, but still hard, which was the right decision in the end. VR has a lot of parts that have that nice 2.0 charm to them, as well as some legitimately good looking parts too. Relative to its difficulty, VR is almost unanimously considered to be the most fun level in the top 20. One of my personal favorite Extreme Demons, and I can't wait to beat this one day. Ariania is one of the most unknown levels on the list, which is a real shame because the level is quite good. It's a timing and duel based level hosted by Exon and verified by Kotamon. The decoration looks really good in all parts, and the sync for most of the level is spot on. I really hope more people play this level, as I feel it deserves a lot more attention than it's currently getting. KrmaL is ugly. Getting that out of the way. Being the shortest Extreme Demon and one of the shortest demons in the game means that KrmaL has a lot of my third least favorite thing behind Pickles and Plants vs. Zombies 3. KrmaL is extremely timing based, and you just don't get a break with this level. A lot of people have beaten this, which is quite surprising considering its gameplay style, but apparently it gets very consistent. It looks cool and it plays terribly. Moving on. Aquatic Aurorus drops Virus and replaces him with Electro and Lime. I have to say, I quite like how this level looks. The circles effect is less obvious, which means it's easier on the eyes. I also like the cave theming the level has going for it, with some cool crystal designs. The level still plays bad, it's an end level 9 circles level for crying out loud. It's definitely my favorite out of the 3 on the servers currently. Now this is how you do a short but hard level. Wasserwetter is better than KrmaL in basically every way. The level looks phenomenal, and all the parts fit together very nicely while still being pretty different. The gameplay here is also very timing based, but the timings are cleaner, more satisfying, and a joy to watch. I can't speak on playing this level, but most people who have beaten it have thoroughly enjoyed it, so I imagine it's very fun. It still has compressed difficulty, but the level is just overall nicer. An amazing level that I think without a shadow of a doubt will draw in a lot of skilled players. The sequel to Yatagarasu, this level eclipses that in every way known and unknown to man. Oro has an amazing color combination, being orange and purple, and all the parts fit together while remaining distinct enough to tell them apart. The gameplay in this is considered to be god tier amazing, aside from a few parts like Darwin, Devon, and sometimes Lucichick depending on who you ask. The Ouroboros itself looks phenomenal, and even though the boss fight has a bit mechanical movements, it's still amazing. An absolute beauty to behold. Ouroboros really raises the standards for Extreme Demons in my opinion, and it's unlikely we'll see anything of its quality for a long time. If there ever was a level that was the exact opposite of Ouroboros, PPF wouldn't get first, but oh boy, it wouldn't be too far off. Plasma Pulse Finale is the fourth, final, and hardest level in the infamous Plasma Pulse series by Gairon and Smokes. Based around extreme timings, PPF was once upon a time considered to be the hardest level in the game, and was constantly swapped around with Bloodlust. Bloodlust obviously emerged victorious in the end, but PPF is still a big achievement nonetheless. The level ranges from quite good to just okay in terms of decoration. It's not that satisfying to watch really, and a lot of the timings are too hard to be fun, at least from what I've seen from the people who have beaten it. Overall, a large case of existing syndrome and not much else. And level 9 circles levels are like grandma's cookies. They keep coming and coming and coming and coming, and you just want them to stop, but they won't. Hyperparacosm is the first level in the series and was pivotal to help expose its end level for hacking. Unlike Aquatic and Arctic, Hyperparacosm is really ugly and really messy, especially in the wave. There's just these parts in the background that stick out like a sore thumb. As for how it plays, I don't like this level. which is really strange. The parts look good for the most part, exceptions being chlorines and walrus. Gameplay is also considered to be alright by people who have beaten it. However, it's just so bland. I genuinely like 2 parts in this level, being Lemons and Jenkins. Everything else is just a cesspool of bright mediocrity. Because just how alright this level is, I hate it so much more. I can say without a doubt this is one of my most disliked Extreme Demons, up there with bullshit like Elite Z Rebirth. You do not want to be compared to Elite Z Rebirth. Gamma is Sigma but with color. Everything I said about Sigma applies to her, but to a lesser degree. Despite looking worse and playing worse than Sigma, I much prefer Spatial Rend over that. Spatial Rend has a bit more of an identity than Sigma, I feel like, because the last parts, wherein ZBM Eclipsed, are infamous for racking up a Jesus ton of deaths. Yeah, sure, that might be a bad thing, but I prefer a memorable bad level than a mediocre forgettable level.
I take back my previous statement.
Sonic Wave is a level that sadly needs no introduction. I just don't get why this, of all things, was considered holy. It's just dark blue 9 circles, but hard. And it isn't even fun to watch or play, it's just boring. This is another Extreme Demon I just cannot get behind. It's blue 9 circles. Nothing about this is special.
Well, good thing there haven't been any remakes of this. Why do I do this to myself?
Generic Wave is 2 guys sitting in a room smoking marijuana while on 4 tabs of acid. One of them says, "Let's take a bad level and make it worse." The second guy has a stroke from agreeing too hard. An unspecified amount of months later, and Generic Wave is shot out of the room and delivered by Molesy the midwife. They managed to make the decoration in Sonic Wave look worse. And yeah, I get that's the point, but still. They also decided to change the gameplay.
Oh boy, maybe Sonic Wave can be improved upon and made fun.
I'll give credit where credit is due, though. They did change the second cube for the better. It doesn't look god-awful to play, which is always a plus. Now, you might be thinking that this short section in a 3-minute level is enough to salvage it. To which I say, if you clean your toilet while your house is on fire, yeah, you did something good, but there's far worse happening around that you really should be dealing with. What bothers me most about Generic Wave is that it's a bad joke level that looks bad, and it's rated, but Bath, which is a good-looking joke level and looks good, it isn't. It should be flip-flopped, honestly, as Penita still gets his precious creator points and Generic Wave is removed from the list so I don't have to talk about it. Spectrum Cyclone has a big case of either love it or hate it. The decoration looks amazing. It's unique yet not laggy. The gameplay is immensely satisfying to watch, but it does have some brutal timings, especially in the second half. I can't really give a full opinion because I feel like I actually need to have beaten this in order to have a full opinion, so talk to me again in like 3 years maybe. Macabre is a solo level by Zephyrox and verified by MrSpaghetti. It's quite a good looking level, and Zeph seems to have taken inspiration from Devon in making some of the gameplay and decoration. However, the gameplay seems to be a massive roadblock for a lot of people, as so many people have given up on it and it doesn't have that many actual victors. Because of that, I'm really not sure what to make of it. It's not a level I look down on per se, but I don't really think of it that highly because of the experience so many people have with it. Yatagarasu is a level much more deserving of the legendary demon title than Sonic Wave. Being the official sequel to Bloodbath, I think Yata is a worthy sequel, albeit a bit of a boring level. It has quite simplistic gameplay for its difficulty, being really straightforward ship sections with some difficult timings and wave sections plopped in. An influential level for sure, but maybe not the greatest top 40. On a quick side note, it feels so weird to have to call Yata a top 40 or a top 35, considering just under 2 years ago he was in the top 10. This level blows. This level does the opposite of Blow. Omega is my personal favorite out of Minecraft's Greek letter trilogy. Each part is distinct, but not too distinct, and there's a nice blend of monochrome and color throughout the level. The gameplay is not simplistic by any means, but you can tell what's going on when you pay attention. Another one of my personal favorite extreme demons, and I really hope I'll be able to do this one day. Titan Complex is another good extreme demon.
2 good extreme demons in a row? Oh god, that's a sign of the apocalypse. If we get another good extreme, it will be the end of the world. It will be the end of humanity. Oh, thank God.
Anyways, back to TC. Titan Complex is a level that has no right to work as well as it does. It has a different decoration and gameplay style for each part, and yet it is one of my personal favorite extreme demons. All the parts fit the song perfectly, and no part looks bad at all. WoW was supposed to be Trusta's last level, man, what a funny joke. Verified by nPesta and decorated by a bunch of people on Penata, this level is extremely based on clicking fast and spamming. Clicking fast can be cool and fun, but this level takes it too far. The big problem I and a lot of others have is how bloody buggy Slim Jim's part, aka the super spam part, is. Apparently nPesta fixed over 50 bugs in this section, and it's still god awful. I understand that really spammy parts are very difficult to make not buggy. Hell, I made a spam challenge and it had like 5 to 15 bugs in it, and that's on a good day. At the end of the day though, WoW is still really bad to play. It's a neat idea having an extremely spam based level, but it falls flat, especially since Trusta keeps replicating it in other levels of his, which takes away that novelty. Erebus is a level with gameplay made by Illwill, decorated by Rustam, and verified by Boltstep. It has a unique gameplay style in which nearly every click is luck-based to an extent. There's some very inconsistent timings throughout, and it is arguably one of the scariest demons to try and take on as a pro player. That being said, what the hell is this decoration? Everything before the logo looks absolutely terrible. It's so messy and cluttered. After the logo, things start to look passable, but it just stays passable for the whole level. I don't understand how Rustam thought that this was okay, considering he wasn't new to creating good looking levels. I like the general idea of Erebus' gameplay, but the way it's decorated, it just brings it down so much. Edge of the Blade was a level that was stuck in limbo for about a year before being verified twice by Nightruni. Edge of the Blade is a very unique level. You won't really find a level like it. There's some very cool looking parts like Knobbelboy, Rustam, and the part with the Legend of Zelda pixel art, which is what this level is based around. There's only like 2 parts I would consider outdated, but they're not bad, they're just a little old. I'm a bit torn on the gameplay though. From an outsider looking in, the gameplay fits the song quite well. However, from the people who have played it and beaten it, the consensus seems to be it's kind of annoying. Overall, not my favorite level, but not a bad level in my eyes. Devil Vortex is a terrible level that should not be rated. The base idea behind Devil Vortex's gameplay is Erebus, but with no originality or organicness to the timings. The level is straight fly, wave spam, and unoriginal ball timings. It's also extremely over-decorated, with only a couple coolish art pieces, and those feel very out of place on the level. This level is one of my least favorite extreme demons of all time, and unlike Sigma, I can safely say I'm not alone in that department.
Oh boy, another Korean mega collab. If it's anything like Visible Ray, it'll be amazing. Oh, fuck.
Dark Flare is a level everyone agrees to ignore except when talking about pain and agony. The gameplay is just so weird to play, with a pretty much unanimous opinion that Dorami is the worst part. Of course, I don't know where Dorami is, but if I had to guess, I'd say it's the second drop at about 40%. The decoration is just all over the place, but no parts look bad in my eyes, just some look a bit old. Dark Flare is overall just a really weird level, and I think we can all agree on that. Rage is a level by who? And verified by nSwish. The main concept of this level is having only one game mode per part and having the color of said part match the color of said game mode's portal. While a really interesting idea and concept, the execution is just okay. The parts that execute this idea the best are the UFO, spider, and ball parts. With parts like the wave and cube, there's a lot of flashing that really overpowers that section's color, making it feel just gray, white, and black instead of, green or blue. There's also parts that legitimately look bad, like the cube and robot, especially when compared to other parts of the level. The gameplay looks alright up until the wave, but the creator had a seizure and thought whatever the f this is okay. I feel like Rage is a classic case of concept means nothing without good execution. Celestial Force is a duel-based mega collab hosted by Mindcap and was originally verified by Dagger, with a bug fix update verified by Gizbro. Celestial is all duels all the time. You maybe get 4 parts without duels, and that's on a Saturday. The duels are so chaotic. It's one of the most satisfying yet confusing levels to watch, and I imagine it's awesome to play once you've learned the duels. That's probably a big reason why not enough players have beaten it. The duels, you have to learn them. I mean, come on, you'd piss yourself too if you had to learn 5 duels each like 20 seconds long and consisting of different gameplay types. At the end of the day though, I'm a sucker for duels, so I like this level, even if some parts look outdated and there's some weird structuring in some parts.
Oh, hi, I didn't know you were still there. I was just playing Sunset Sandstorm.
Sunset Sandstorm is a level that takes inspiration from Black Blizzard and cranks the strange gameplay up 1,000 times to what is normally acceptable. You will not find a single level like this, both in terms of gameplay and decoration. Let's talk about the gameplay first. Yeah, Sunset doesn't have the best balancing, with the first 30% being much harder and more inconsistent than the rest of the level. The level is also very strange. I mean, come on, part of the gameplay is literally a bug in the physics engine. This level is anything from normal. It's quite satisfying to look at though, and it flows to the song nicely. Speaking of looking, let's talk about the decoration. There's a bloody reason why people have cataracts, and it's because they watched a video of this level. This level is just so bright. With Black Blizzard, I personally felt like I had no idea what was going on because of how dark the level was. At Sunset, I have the same problem, but for the exact opposite reason. I can't imagine playing this for an extended period of time, especially with the 2 parts in the beginning that make the already bright level brighter. Yes, there's some cool effects, yes, there's some nice movements, but the sheer brightness of the bloody thing not only takes away from those things, but it conceals them. My opinion of Sunset has deteriorated more and more as time has gone on, and will probably continue to do so as the years go on. EXO is a good level, you guys are just mean. EXO is KrmaL's crowning achievement, and I think that, for what it is, it's a good level. People say it's boring, unoriginal, and it looks bad. To which I say 2 things. 1. KrmaL's flashy decoration style is outdated and not special anymore. And 2.
Make the level yourself then.
EXO definitely has effort put into some of the effects and structures, but the main focus here is the gameplay. And I think for what it is, it manages to balance out being fun and hard. At least that's what I think the consensus is. My main problem is what a lot of people's problem with the level is, the sync parts. Yeah, they look cool, but corn looks cool. Do we want to talk about corn? From what I've seen, they're very finicky, and the click patterns seem to change with refresh rates, which is just always terrible. I like EXO, but I do see some of the flaws it has, which makes it a perfect okay level in my eyes. Zafkiel is a level people overrate. It looks fine for the most part, but a lot of the structures have weird lines that aren't filled in, which really detract from the overall mediocre experience. The level's also quite bright. The gameplay looks fine. It doesn't look fun at all, but it looks slightly bearable. I just really don't care for this level, honestly. I find it forgettable, and Darwin has made much better stuff since then, so this doesn't even hold up that well. Now, I know what I just said was really stupid, but people went nuts for this level's decoration for some reason. Overall, it exists. Molten Gear is a level that suffers from a lack of quality control. I think it's fair to call this a clusterfuck, because the quality in this is so vast it has its own spectrum of measurement. If you aren't familiar with the story, Molten Gear started life off as Fusion Z back in 2016 when its host was Manix. However, like too many other of Manix's levels at the time, it was too hard for people. Manix then killed the level a year later, and everyone was sad, but Knobbelboy went,
Manix, I'm repossessing your child.
To which Manix responded,
Okay, but you only get 2 arms and an eye. You have to assemble the rest of the child yourself with pieces you found on the street.
That didn't stop Knobbelboy from taking 34 years to reassemble Fusion Z, now named Molten Gear for copyright reasons. Knob then verified Molten Gear and it was released to the world for everyone to make fun of.
So we're going to be using the Molten Gear system of quality, patent pending, in order to rank all the parts in Molten Gear. First up is Bionox, and this part looks pretty outdated, so it's going to get the Bionox tier, right above the Zaro tier. Next up is Panman, and this part looks really quite good, but it does play a little awkwardly, so I'm putting it into the Pan tier. Next is Lucas Yellow's part, and this part also looks pretty good, but plays a bit better than Pan, so it gets the Lucas Yellow tier. Sharksidian's part is a bit outdated, but it's not too outdated, so I'm going to place it solidly in the Shock tier. Zaro's part is the most outdated part of the level, and it's garbage, so I'm putting it in the Terron tier. Next is Lexicon, and this is one of the better looking parts of the level, so I'm going to put it in the Lexicon tier. Next up is Creeper 4, which is literally just orange laser blitz, so I'm also putting this in the Lexicon tier. Hell Pegasus is the best looking part of the level that isn't Endgame, so it goes straight into the Hell Pegasus tier. Terron's part is the definition of Agni, so it goes into the Terron tier. Penface's part plays really weird and looks weird as well, so it goes into the Metal Tough tier. Zendergame's boss fight looks amazing, but plays kind of awkward, but it still gets the Zendergame tier. Pundra's part looks pretty outdated as well, but it plays better than Zaro and Terron, so it gets a solid Bionox tier. Stratos is the worst part of the level because it's not orange, so it goes in the trash can. Morphix's part looks like it was either made ahead of its time or behind its time, depending on when it was made, so it goes into the Schrodinger tier. Viptrax's part looks absolutely terrible, so I'm going to put it in the Serpent tier. Zephyrox and Knobbelboy both look quite good, so they both go into their respective tiers. Now let's take a look at the final prof. Fuck, I forgot we were ranking Molten Gear.
Digital Descent is the sequel to Artificial Ascent, and both levels are tech-themed. All the parts look good here, but only half are actually tech-themed. Most just like run-of-the-mill good parts. The gameplay is good, I guess. I don't feel pain from watching it, so that's a plus. But can anyone honestly look into my eyes and tell me that these are tech-themed? That's what I thought. Paroxysm is a laughingstock. Taprek is stupid. It looks stupid and it plays stupid. The song is not stupid though. Mr. Lorenzo's style just doesn't work that well, and his gameplay is even worse. I'm being very redundant. Freedom Away is the level that should have been the hardest demon Penanta made, and was verified by Golden with a scream of about 13,000 decibels. There's a lot of variety in the parts, and they all look really good, if a bit disconnected from one another. Of course, the main focus is the very well synced gameplay. Penanta managed to take a speedcore song with a ridiculously high BPM and make it pretty well synced for the most part. Of course, not every note is synced. I mean, come on, did you see the BPM? My main problem with this level is just how long it is. The only level I personally think would be more taxing to play is the full Ocular Miracle, without ever being a full minute longer than Freedom Away and still being as intense. Overall, a good level marred by its length. Altered Ascent is a remake of Artificial Ascent, and boy is it faithful. Altered is really just an improved version of Artificial, with some minor buffs here and there that don't feel out of place. There's not a lot of levels I would call straight HD remakes, but Altered is one of them. The decoration is very faithful to the original, well, maybe except for Joho, but that part still looks phenomenal. But they just look better and more modern. One nice touch I adore is how a lot of the parts have the old name of the creator in the part as a nice homage to the old team. I also really like how the end screen says Artificial to begin with, but then changes to Altered. That's a nice touch. There's not a lot I have to say about Altered, but it's a phenomenal remake. It really feels like a modern and improved Artificial Ascent, which is not a lot of remakes nowadays can really say. I wish you got more levels like this, levels that still feel like the original but improve upon it in many ways. Take, say, Calculator Core, or Bloodlust, or Auditory Breaker. Those levels have the same gameplay as the levels they are remaking, but it just feels like it's that gameplay in an entirely different level. Altered stays away from that, and I really respect it for that.
So there goes the top 50 hardest rated extreme demons in Geometry Dash. Don't worry, we got about 250 more to go, and you'll see those videos when I make them, I'll be sure of it. Of course, my opinion is incorrect. Just like how Plants vs. Zombies games always be a son of a bitch. I fucking love sequels. Empire Strikes Back, Garden Warfare 2, Uncharted 2, all great sequels. That's why I've decided I want to get my own sequel. Introducing Brit 2. Pick this guy up at the orphanage for about $10. I have to say, I really like him. He doesn't say much, he's a baby for crying out loud, but he is a good sequel, and that's what I love. My love for sequels has also inspired me to create a sequel to my previous video on Extreme Demons. I know, shocking, right? But it's been long enough. The fans are hungry for more, and who better to satisfy that hunger than me?
Last time we covered my thoughts on the top 50, so where better to go than the middle 50? Anyways, let's begin.
Breaking news! Cold Sweat placed at 7 because the demon list likes screwing Brit over. His last video is now inaccurate, and he now has to talk about Cold Sweat. Bitch.
Cold Sweat is a level I was not expecting to place as high as it did. Made by Para, Sminx, and Woolsey, and verified by Kappa. This level is another one of those so fucking weird you need a degree in rocket science to beat it levels. The level has some cool effects and some interesting gameplay. However, the level is not considered that fun by most people who have beaten it, which is a shame. I definitely consider this to be one of those admire from afar types of levels, where it's better if you don't actually play the thing. KrmaL City is a remake/reimagining of KrmaL City made by Penata and verified by Sonix. The level looks really good and unique. When you see it, you know that it's KrmaL City. It's also very well synced and satisfying to watch and play. Penata did lean a bit much on complicated duels, but it's not a big deal. Overall, a nice way to begin.
Sir, we've detected an error in your script that you forgot to fix. The fans will now make fun of you. No!
Stalemate Redux is a remake of a level you would never guess.
Supersonic. Damn it!
I'm not a huge fan of this. The first wave is miles harder than everything else, and the gameplay just isn't that fun according to most people. The decoration is fine, it's not piss poor like the original Stalemate, but it retains the same clashing color scheme. The end part is the messiest and worst part for me personally, but it has its charm, I guess. It's just okay, honestly. Catalyze is the deformed, brain-damaged cousin of Zafkiel, which wasn't great to begin with. Catalyze plays awfully. Take all the bad in Zafkiel and just have that as level but worse. The decoration literally follows the same progression as Zafkiel, except now there's no lava pot or weird gaps in objects. I don't like this level and I never want to play it. It's red. The sequel to Photovoltaic 2 shares nothing with the original aside from its host and name. Photovoltaic 2 has a lot more diversity in its parts, which you may or may not see as a good thing. A lot of the parts don't really fit together well, but there's no real theme, so it gets a pass. The gameplay is a whole different story though. It's what we Geometry Dash players like to refer to as so strange and awkward. I highly doubt you can find someone who genuinely loves this level's gameplay, and if you do, you should get as far away from them as you can. A forgettable level made worse by its abnormal gameplay. Killbot is a cool concept for a level, but concept doesn't mean shit if the execution is bad. Fortunately for Killbot, it executes this concept very well. Unfortunately for us, it's a lot like this. Killbot has quite a tragic backstory, but I don't feel like destroying the mood and going down the lithofusion rabbit hole. All I need to know was that Killbot was born out of a suicide. The virus taking over your computer is done quite well. However, I'm not a huge fan of the random text covering your screen telling you to do specific actions to yourself. That works better in Requiem, which isn't rated, so I'm not going to talk about it. Overall, Killbot is a cool level with eye-straining visuals. Factory Realm X, also known as Noun Letter, is a solo level by Hell Pegasus and verified by nSwish. This is such a weird level. The gameplay is so strange and abnormal, especially in the duels. FRX is infamous for its last swing hop to being the hardest part of the level. The level is also one of those learny levels on the list that isn't memory based. The decoration is boring and bad, except for the last part with the cool industrial background. My final thoughts on this level? I don't know, man. It's so weird. It's not extremely bad, but it isn't that good either. Tempered Steel is a factory-themed megacola by It's Hybrid and more that was verified by Crazen. The level has a really appealing color scheme being grey, gold, and black, and all the parts of the level stick to this theme and execute it really well. However, when we look at the gameplay, we're met with a dictionary definition.
Supersonic. Damn it!
Each part is a completely different gameplay style, and it drives me nuts. Oh, it's a timing demon. Never mind, it's a ship-based demon. Never mind, it's a wave-based demon. Screw it, it's a duel-based demon. How about some fucking memory? Overall, a visually appealing level with some very indecisive gameplay.
Hey, have you ever experienced pain before? No, I haven't. Would you like to?
Demonica is a French megacaller everyone over 5'6" hates. The balancing here is non-existent and the decoration looks awful except for that one Mario part. Like FRX, the gameplay is extremely strange, but unlike FRX, it's not satisfying at all. You are better off sticking a whole baguette up your ass than playing this level. Don't play it. I shouldn't like this level. Everyone who has beaten it has hated it. But I love this level. The gameplay is super satisfying to watch. It's simple, but not boring. The decoration is amazing as well, with the blue parts being the slower parts and the orange parts being the insane drops. Speaking of drops, the song is a banger. KrmaL makes great songs, and this is no exception. Honestly, one of my favorite Extreme Demons, but I'm quite scared to play it because of what everyone has said about it.
So that was Delta Interface. Really good level in my eyes. You're on a roll, man. Oh, thanks. What's the next level? Oh, it's Auditory Breaker.
Auditory Breaker is Sonic Wave with actual decoration. The thing's even more boring than normal Sonic Wave because of the significant nerfs, and a bunch of the parts just look empty in the background. Gotta hand it to Manix and Laser Blitz though, they did make the second cube look amazing. Looking at Artificial Ascent after previously looking at Altered Ascent is like playing the remastered version of the game and then playing the original. It's no contest, Altered wins every time. However, that doesn't mean Artificial is a bad level, far from it. However, everything here is definitely from a different era of GD. Artificial is more like a relic to the past in my eyes. You have the superior version being Altered Ascent, but if you want to take a look into GD's past, this is a great way to do so. This is my second least favorite Extreme Demon in the game, behind the one and only Elite Z Rebirth. You could honestly swap the two around and I'd be fine with it. No parts and fabrication look good at all, and none of the gameplay is good either. The whole thing is just one massive bore fest, which is a real shame since Outbreaker is a really good song, but Lightning Collab team did an injustice. This is bad and there's no valid counter, as simple as that. Ethereal Artiface is a level that executes its concept perfectly. The idea behind Ethereal is a half red, half green level, and the result is spectacular. I would have liked it if the color change was at 47% since the level's gameplay ends at 94%, so it would have been a perfect split, but the change is only 2% off, so it's not that big of a deal. All the parts look amazing, and the gameplay is really good for the most part. However, there are some awkward choke points. The song is also amazing and complements the level really well. The opinions on this level are somewhat split, however, which is why this isn't my personal favorite Extreme Demon, but if the gameplay was a bit better and more balanced, it probably would be.
Oi, Brit! Ah! You need to talk about missing benefits. It's nonsensical and it puts me to sleep. Good night. Mate, it's 3 PM. See you in the morning. Come on, man, you need to give a more in-depth explanation. Bastard.
This level is terrible. It's like the only direction the creators were given from Rori was
drugs.
Gameplay is abysmal, the decoration is lackluster at best, and the weird memes in the background make no sense at all. Okay, your logo's buggy, I don't care, pay your taxes to get it fixed. This level just sucks, and there's no point talking about it more than that.
I just looked through this entire pile of paper, and I found no mention of a thief stick by Cyqual. Granted, most of these are old tax documents from 15 years ago, but it's still really odd.
A thief stick is a fine level, fine gameplay, fine decoration, good song. This is the most unknown level on the list for an obvious reason.
It's buffed blast processing. Do you expect me to give an actual opinion?
Dolos is a Brazilian megacolor hosted by Hugo LA and verified by nSwish. Originally the level was placed in the mid-40s, but nSwish later updated the level to fix some bugs, make some annoying parts less annoying, and nerf and buff some parts to better balance the thing. Dolos is a good level in my eyes, albeit a bit boring. The amount of times you actually have to click in this level is shockingly low, which can lead to a bit of boredom in the first few parts. However, those who have beaten it say the drop is quite fun, but a little weird to play. Finally, the ending is quite difficult even with the update, which means a lot of people will die there. Dolos is a pretty mixed bag, but the good parts outnumber the bad parts just slightly.
Hello, I'm Dr. Brit. What seems to be your issue today? Man, I fucking hate having eyes, dog. They just serve no purpose and they're just here to make me angry. So you no longer want to have eyes? That's the ticket! Alright then. Take this. This should help. Glowy Barabba. Thanks, Doc. The effect should start working about 3 minutes after you take the medication. Alright, thanks, man. I'll be on my way out now.
Glowy is a level that 9 out of 10 doctors recommend for people who fucking hate having eyes. The level is just brightness that keeps getting brighter, which, I mean, props to Rob Buck, you get what you pay for here. The gameplay is also just a demo of Star Wars Squadrons for 3 minutes, which, I mean, there's worse games to get done with up in your daily Extreme Demon. At the end of the day, Glowy is just fine, honestly. Nothing that special, but a decent joke level. Gizbro mode is not a sequel to Carnage mode, despite what C will tell you. There's something about this level that's just bad. Everyone who has beaten it has basically agreed it's Penata's worst 2.1 level. The gameplay just isn't fun. I mean, it's still sync, but what matters is that it's fun, and it's not that fun. The decoration is exactly what you would expect from TC Team if they decorated a level called Gizbro mode. Basically, don't play this. It's not worth it. Rori Cabby is one of Ramoisty's best extreme demons in my opinion. Inspired by Zyro Cabby by Zaraku, Rori Cabby takes those ideas and makes them better. The whole level looks really nice throughout, if a bit flashy at times, and it retains the spirit of Zyro Cabby while doing its own thing. One of the better levels we've looked at in this video thus far, which is kind of saying something about the quality of the middle 50. Well, it was annoying to have Cold Sweat placed in the middle of this, but at least no more levels have been played.
Breaking news! KrmaL is placed at 74 because the demonist really hates Brit. He now has to shoehorn in a part talking about KrmaL in what was otherwise a flawless script. You're fucking kidding me.
My thoughts on KrmaL are exactly my thoughts on Prismatic Haze.
But you haven't talked about Prismatic Haze yet.
I know.
Basically, whenever my thoughts on Prismatic Haze are, that's what I think of KrmaL Haze, with a few points stock because of slightly more annoying gameplay and the end shit being much harder than everything else. This is another random oddity in the middle 50.
Is this the Demon List or the SCP Foundation?
Bright Demon is a joke level by Guess Who and verified by Dorami. It's very bright for most of the level on full detail, but a decent amount of that gets removed with the LDM, so that's nice. The level has its difficulty slanted towards the end, with the final queue being the second hardest spot behind only the last ship. This is a weird level, man. It's a decent joke level, but not a decent level. Void Wave is an amazing level and one of my favorite extremes. This level has such a consistent color scheme, being blue and purple, and all the parts look at least great. The gameplay is also really well synced, however there's a common desync bug, which is unfortunate. If I had to guess, it's because of the level's massive object count, which is my only real problem with this level. If Cherry Team had been a bit more conservative with their object uses, this would have easily been my favorite extreme demon. Overall, a phenomenal level and better than a lot of other extremes. Around late 2.0, people were wondering whether 9 Circles levels would continue in 2.1. Spoiler alert, spoiler alert, spoiler alert, they did. However, Penata decided he wanted everyone to replicate his style and not Zobros's, so he created Bowser Vortex, which has inspired almost as many ripoffs, inspirations, as 9 Circles originally did. The Circles effect looks pretty cool, but everything else just looks empty, especially the last part. The level also plays terribly, so that's fun. A cool reinvention of the Circles trend, but not a super amazing level. Balingu Vortex is a remake of Bowser Vortex, and it's better in every way except the gameplay. There's some really cool effects, and the creators managed to do something unique with it while still making it feel like Bowser. The end is still empty and bland, which is a shame, but the wave parts still look great.
Notice how I said look.
Yeah, Balingu doesn't play well, which I guess may have been what the creators were going for, but come on, given the choice between these two, I choose the quit button.
Ooh, my favorite.
Shut up, Loops, this is not your video! This level is amazing.
Yay.
Belloc is a level by Penata and more that was published by Penata's secretary, Sminx. The base idea of this level was not originally Egyptian, but rather a level based around Penata's icon colors, which were tan and dark blue. This evolved into the Egyptian theme that it is today. The level's claim to fame is its amazing sync, which is executed amazingly. It's also widely considered to be the most satisfying demon on the list and super fun if you aren't npesta. The decoration is phenomenal, with all the parts sticking to the theme but also doing their own thing with it. Overall, one of my favorite extreme demons in the game. Black Blizzard was supposed to be KrmaL's hardest level ever, and he almost succeeded with that. Black Blizzard is an extreme timing and duel-based level. KrmaL really did try his hardest with the effects here. They look really good, but aren't insanely object-heavy, which is a massive plus. I've always wanted to learn a duel in a Pepper Storm. The gameplay is also really good, aside from the first cube being the hardest part. I really do like this level, but I do see the flaws it has.
It's a different level! It's a different level, I swear!
Shuri Cappy is a remake of a remake that I do not care for at all. The level looks fine and plays fine, but come on. Do you really think I care enough to say anything more? Hatred does one singular thing right. I hate it. None of the gameplay looks bearable in the slightest. It's all pixel perfect timings. The decoration is also really boring to look at, and the background is the same throughout the entire level. Do yourself a favor and stay as far away from this as you can. Treat it like the plague if you have to. This draw is leveled by Alkali and more. That was TGI's last verification. This level is monochrome, however it pulls that theme off. This level is really intense and has a lot of different decoration styles in the monochrome theme. The gameplay is also considered to be very fun, aside from the first cube being a lot harder than everything else, which is a shame since there's not a lot of flaws with this level besides that. If it was a bit better balanced, I would definitely like it a hell of a lot more. Occult Outcry is a remake of Cursed Calling by Mindsap. However, some may say it's a simple V2, and they would be correct. It retains the exact same style as Cursed Calling, but this time it's just hard. Cursed Calling was already a bottom of the barrel level to begin with, and Occult just made it worse. It's a novel idea, taking an old 1.9 level and making a level out of that style with 2.1 gameplay, but it's just not that good. There's a lot of bullshit in this level and not much else, which is a bit of a shame, but at the same time, you decided to remake Cursed Calling. You brought this on yourself. There's some basic rules in life. If you're at a family reunion, don't talk politics. If someone sneezes, you say bless you. If you see the words Jonathan GD and Extreme Demon close to each other, f***ing run. Batardi 3 is the final 11 Jonathan's Batardi series. A series that went from 7-star to Hard Demon to top 90. Jonathan knows how to make a series, guys. 3 is better than 1, no doubt. I mean, that was 2.0 garbage. Anything's better than that. If you look through your trash can, you can probably find a dozen levels that looked exactly like Batardi 1. 3, however, just doesn't have a soul compared to 2. In Batardi 2, there were so many little sections you could pick out, from Juniper's house to the final boss fight to a lot of the break parts, which all felt really unique. 3 has nothing interesting except the duels because, get this, Jonathan made them. I swear, if Jonathan made a level promoting burnt toast, people would still love it. People love anything and everything that Jonathan makes, and often refuse to look at blatant flaws his levels have. If people stopped worshipping his levels to the extent they do, maybe I could appreciate them more, but because everyone loves his levels, except the people who have beaten it, I just can't love them. Ya is a level that proves people cannot make fun gameplay when the song is peer gaunt. The gameplay is just not fun to watch, and it's even worse to play. As for the decoration, it's La Fritz, alright. I literally have no other thoughts on this.
Hey, have you ever wondered what radish, eggnog, vomit, cement, and broken glass tasted like? Not particularly. Well, too bad. It tastes like furious flames. But you can't taste furious flames. Shut up.
It's bad, what more can I say?
You could elaborate on why it's bad.
Nah.
10th Circle is the worst 9 Circles level ever made. Take the horrible gameplay from Arctic Lights, the brightness from Sunset Sandstorm, the object count of Ocular Miracle, and you have 10th Circle. No part of this level looks enjoyable at all. The effects are pretty cool, I guess, but effects aren't everything. The song is a banger, though. This is a pretty cool level. No parts look bad, but no parts are that memorable. A good song and some good art, but nothing super special. Big props to Gio though for thanking Illreal solely for being a source of hentai. Gotta have some balls to do that. Why do I like this level? It's everything I shouldn't like in a level. Annoying, inconsistent, memory-based, flashy, nonsensical. And yet I really like this level for some reason. I honestly can't explain why, but this level has a certain charm to it that I can't put my finger on. Also, the song is incredible. Audio Expulsion is a great way to do a mega collab with no theme. The final level in KrmaL's audio series, Expulsion, is by far the best. I mean, there was no way to go but up from this, and Expulsion executes that brilliantly. Since there's no real theme, the creators get a lot more freedom to do what they want, which results in a lot of diversity in the level, which is awesome. The thoughts on this level's gameplay are pretty split, however, but the main consensus is that Thaumatin and KrmaL's part are the hardest and most annoying. Definitely one of the better levels thus far, and one of the better Luqualizer verifications. Astral Divinity is God Eater without the copyright infringement, created and verified by Knobbelboy. This level is okay. There's definitely some cool parts to it, but my god, the balancing sucks. The last 40% is where most of the difficulty lies, and most people who have beaten this have hated it. The level also has a fascination with the number 404 for some reason. I really don't know why. Another big case of Knobbelboy hype, a condition that mostly affects Knobbelboy levels, which get overhyped and then released to a critical meh. You know that one really ugly girl in your class that everyone forgets exists who then got a makeover but was still ugly and people still forgot about her? That's Basscave. I would go into more depth on why I feel this analogy is valid and accurate to Basscave because of its outdated gameplay and decoration, or because it was hacked, verified, and still rated, or the fact that the last 10% is as basic gameplay as you can imagine. But you've seen enough already.
Bingo! 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 It looks like Brit here has gotten a bad Extreme Demon bingo. Let's see. Published by Bionox, verified by Knobbelboy, red hell theme but uses a different color other than red, made by Eclipsed, and uses Underworld by Space. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a winner!
Singularity sucks ass. You can't see anything and the gameplay is terrible. It's not balanced at all, which sucks because the level looks kind of cool, or rather what little of the level you can see looks cool. Nothing here beyond pain and suffering, so let's move on. Anoxysm is the sequel to Paroxysm. Anoxysm looks at what Paroxysm did, laughs at it, throws it out the window, and hits it over the head several times with a baseball bat. Anoxysm is just so good compared to Paroxysm. Anoxysm is consistent, fun, balanced, satisfying, and overall just a good time. If I had to pick a flaw with the level, it would be that it's a bit flashy, but it's not that bad. An amazing level, and truly an amazing improvement from Paroxysm.
Hello, this is Britdarg Law Department. How may we help you today? I'd like to sue Viprin for false advertising.
Subsonic is the final mainline level in the Sonic series, and yet it's the fastest of the bunch. If you wanted to make another Sonic level that's the fastest in the series, why not find another prefix that means extra and slap it onto Sonic? It worked the past 3 times, so it'll work again. But no, they chose the one prefix that means less for the fastest level. The level itself is considered to be quite fun, although everyone seems to hate a different part of it. I mean, it's a fine level, but why Subsonic?
I'm expected to give my opinion on an ingrown toenail. This job sucks.
It's red, boring, annoying, bullshit, annoying, stupid, and dumb. Surge of Memories is the last level in TMN's Surge series, and it's just as incompetently made as the other two. The gameplay in this makes no sense at all, but it's not a good kind of nonsense.
Such a thing exists?
There's a lot of strange timings and blind transitions, and the whole thing is just really annoying all around. The art in this level ranges from pretty good to okay to hand. While the idea of this level was really cool, the execution, or lack thereof, just ruined the level and turned away a lot of people. Shark Therapy isn't that good. It looks fine if a bit disconnected, but honestly the gameplay is just really strange and bad, even after the balance update. Pretty much no one who has beaten it has enjoyed it, and I'd rather forget about its existence, honestly.
Hello guys, SpeedBrit here. So today we're going to be trying to do an any % speed run on the level Speedrun by Kato. So first, let's just open Cheat Engine and set game speed to 500. Then let's activate no clip. Wow, look at that, 0.008 seconds. That's got to be a world record. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.
Speedrun is a very fast level.
What the f***?
It's a very well designed level with a lot of cool pixel art and effects. The gameplay is also decently fun, but it's not very consistent. That's a real shame because the level doesn't have much else wrong with it. If Cincy had maybe balanced it a bit more and fixed a few bugs, this could have been an even better level. Infernal Abyss blows fat ass. This level is so incompetently designed that even a baby without a brain on crack could make a better level. None of the gameplay is fun or fair, and the decoration is just Halloween colors. The fact that this is the official sequel to Cataclysm makes no sense at all, since the level shared no specific traits beyond orange and made by G-Boy. This level could have been amazing, but it wasn't, and became one of the most infamous and worst extreme demons in the game.
That's the problem with so many extreme demons. They're on the verge of greatness, but are held back by just a few small issues that could have been easily fixed if the creators and verifiers were more diligent with making a good level. This leads to a valley of wasted potential, which means we rarely see great extreme demons. Whether it be bugs, inconsistency, lack of playtesting, or just straight up refusals to let the verifiers change anything, there's so many reasons why extreme demons often end up bad, and it just makes me so angry. On top of all of this, the orphanage scammed me. This isn't a baby. It's just a sack of potatoes. Did you guys know that I'm a surgeon? Yeah, I know, it's pretty shocking, right? I learned it in the 2 months that I was gone, and I'm pretty damn good at what I do. I've saved countless lives doing what I do.
Help, I'm having a heart attack in my liver.
Oh, don't worry, I'll save you! This could have gone better. Well, now that I've lost my surgery license, I may as well state my opinion on some more extreme demons, since that's the only other thing I'm good at. Besides, how much can change in 2 months? So much. Well then.
If you hate watching anything that begins with 1 or 2, I'm going to give my opinions on the entire bottom 50 of the demon list. I'll also include any levels that were placed in the top 100 after my previous video first, so we can get them out of the way. Speaking of which, this level is the most forgettable piece of mediocrity on the current list. Which is a real shame, since there were some good creators behind this level, people like Surtrax, Osiris, and Hellpegasus. The level is just so okay for most of it. There's some very bad gameplay in some parts, and the thing does not look balanced at all, but the gameplay seems kinda satisfying in some parts. The decoration is the same throughout for most of the level, with really only some color changes and some creators showing off their signature style in their parts, but the level is so boring to watch. The song's really good, but that's really all the level has going for it. The level also has gameplay in the end screen for some reason, which makes no sense, but at least it's for a coin. This level is one of those levels. It's really hard to remember much about it, even after several viewings.
Want your baby to beat cognition, but they don't have the developed motor skills to do so? Try the new KrmaL from Asuith and Thompson. KrmaL offers the same experience as cognition, but it's more accessible for younger audiences. The visuals have also been improved to drastically improve the experience. Parents of small children everywhere are raving about how good KrmaL is. Just listen from this very real parent.
My son was a failure before he beat KrmaL. Now he's a rocket scientist and can do calculus. Thanks, KrmaL.
Call now and receive your free KrmaL today. KrmaL, a baby's first cognition. I see potential in you.
Hyperparadox is hyperparacosm with some good juice infused into it. Instead of being top 25 for no reason other than clout, Paradox scales back the difficulty to focus more on making the level fun and balanced. Paradox still has a lot of issues with these, however it's not nearly as bad as Paracosm. The decoration is definitely better than Paracosm's, but it's not outstanding. I don't like how some of the wave gameplay is structured, as it feels off and just not up to modern standards. But beyond its couple flaws, it's widely considered to be a pretty fun time, which is always good to hear. 211 is dated, which is unfortunate, but that doesn't mean it's bad. First created by Saga over 5 years ago, 211 currently holds the record for the longest amount of time it has taken to get a level out. After being cancelled and reborn and given to a new decorator countless amounts of times, the end product is a skill-based, unique demon that doesn't really change much in terms of gameplay and decoration. The background remains mostly the same aside from some color changes, and while I do like some of the effects in the background, the fact that the background doesn't change much throughout the entire level means it gets pretty old fast. The lack of any block design also severely dates the level, giving it almost a sunset style reminiscent of early 2.0. I'm also not a fan of the finicky duel at the third drop, mainly because the level is mostly skill based up until that point, but then it reverts back from learny duel to raw skill for the rest of the level. That being said, most people have had a pretty good time with this level, and it certainly looks fun to play, which is incredible given the level's ancient age.
Don't you just hate it when you're trying to play club step and you just lose your eyes instead? How'd you get in my house?
Glitched Memories is a level with a really cool concept, and that's about it. The main idea of Glitched Memories is to be a compilation of different levels that used clubstep as a song, like Red World, ICDX, and Tartarus. While some parts do execute this concept well, they do it with the most painful transitions ever. red flashes. This level has so many red flashes, especially in the second half, that I've decided not to show completion of the level and instead show completions of the levels it's based on. I really don't think it was necessary to have as many flashes as it does, as the level just becomes impossible to play and drives many possible victors. The gameplay looks pretty average, just like your average Glow Mega Collab in terms of decoration for 80% of the level, and the song, while not bad, is really hard to listen to for more than 2 minutes at a time. There was a lot of wasted potential here due to just how many flashes there are, which is a real shame, since the starting concept is quite solid. A Thanatos surprisingly doesn't suck balls. A 3-way collab by Gyro, Herzillo, and Xenity that was hacked in 2.0. This level is better than a lot of 2.1 levels. The song is really good, and the decoration has aged surprisingly well for being mid 2.0. The big issue people have with a Thanatos though is the gameplay, specifically how it's balanced. The second half's waves are all much harder than anything in the slow first half, but a lot of people still enjoy the level, so that's good. For a Hack 2.0 level, Thanatos is surprisingly great. I really don't like anything about this level. The decoration is phenomenal, but compared to some of Xynonox's other work, it's nothing special. I also really hate how this level is pretty chill for 70% of it, but then just randomly turns impossible at the drop. The song is really good aside from the stupid fucking voice talking in the middle. It's just some standard edgelord bullshit that ruins the flow of the level and the song, since it's only him talking but there's still gameplay. Exactly 4 people have beaten this level, and one of them doesn't even have a video since their channel got deleted. And considering that this level has been out for well over half a year, that really just shows no one wants to play this level. I do feel kinda bad since Trusta and Xynonox did their best to keep this a secret until its release, but after the initial craze it was quickly forgotten. If the level just did something more with either the decoration or fixing up the gameplay, this could have been one of the coolest extreme demons, but it's just another demon on the list at this point.
What the hell is this level? Never heard of it. It must not have that many victors. How the fuck does this have more victors than Berserk?
Galactic Shift is the sequel to the old 1.9 Megacolumn Galactic Fragility that is mostly remembered for none of the gameplay ever working correctly. This is the most nothing level I've ever seen. Nothing about this beckons to be remembered. The decoration's par for the course at this point, and the gameplay is fine. It isn't memorable at all and doesn't look that fun, but people who have beaten it said it's mildly fun, so it's good. The song's the only part I actually have strong feelings towards, and I really like it. I wouldn't say it's in my top 5 KrmaL songs, but it's pretty good. This level's kinda like stuffing. It exists, and that's about it.
Well, that's one thing it has over the Soviet Union.
Sharkbreaker is a really cool level, hosted by Spectex and featuring names such as Technical, nPesta, and Gizbro. This level is probably the level with the smallest ratio of big names to victors, being about 2.75 well-known creators for each victor. This level has amazing gameplay that flows really well, but isn't too complicated. The decoration is also really nice and consistent throughout, keeping the same color palette most of the time. Aside from Gunnabones' part being practically auto, the only main problem I have with the level is how insanely flashy it is, especially in Zoroya's part. I think the lightning theme could have been easily executed just as well without a flashbang every 2 seconds, which may have driven potential victors away. At the end of the day, I just want more people to play this level since it really deserves a lot more attention. Breakout Redux was an attempt to continue the Redux lineage established by Stalemate Redux, and it kinda sucked. There's a multitude of reasons why we haven't seen a third Tactic Redux level, one of them being that he was enlisted into the Finnish army. However, while Stalemate Redux was pretty divisive but overall considered to be a pretty mediocre experience at best, Breakout Redux's victors are like 2 political parties in terms of how different their views are. Most victors do agree that Breakout Redux is pretty unbalanced and unplay tested. I think a big reason for that was that this was a race verification between Wave and some other guy who isn't important. Race verifications are a really bad idea since players are more focused on beating the thing first rather than making the necessary changes to polish the level before release. This resulted in Hell Pegasus' part having 3 silent wave clicks and Jakob's part not working at all on 240. Beyond these 2 obvious faults, Breakout Redux is pretty subpar in terms of everything else, unfortunately. Acropolis is a level that ends in Acropolis, which if you know a lot about GD means it's inspired by one of 2 highly influential levels that end in Acropolis. If you know a lot about GD, you also know that's a very bad thing. Big Mac 77 decided to go with the N instead of the A and base Ither off of Necropolis and make it purple in the process. The main reason why this level is so interesting is that it was requested to be rated half as a joke by Ozzy when RobTop came into his stream and asked him what level he'd like to see rated. Rob complied and everyone realized just how high decoration standards have risen since 2017. I'll be honest, I don't think the decoration looks that bad for the most part. There's some parts I can even agree don't look rate-worthy, but the level looks passable, if unoptimized in some parts. The gameplay is really satisfying to watch, but playing it is different. Most people agree it's not nearly as fun as it looks, which is a shame, but a lot of people also agree it's not the worst thing ever. Ither is honestly a pretty funny level to make funny jokes about, but there isn't a lot of substance beneath it.
We have trash cans for a reason. I said we have trash cans for a reason.
Fabricated Thoughts is a perfect middle-of-the-road level, made by MaxiKD and verified by Yakum Nugget. Fabricated Thoughts doesn't do anything wrong, but it also doesn't do anything more than the bare minimum. It's got standard decoration the whole way through, which doesn't help it stand out that much. The gameplay is pretty weird. It's not got a lot of clicks, but some weird chokeable ship sections that don't really sync. The song is good, as Falling Mist is always a good song choice for every level. Fabricated Thoughts isn't bad by any means, but doesn't try anything new or special. I'm fine that it exists. After all, I need mediocre average levels in order to make the masterpieces stand out that much more. If every level is S tier quality, then no level is of S tier quality. Disentombed is a level that was doomed to fail because of how its predecessor, Unearthed, was structured. Unearthed used an extra song that had 4 drops in 3 minutes and a very intense one each time, which meant that there wasn't really any points in it where you weren't actively engaged and having fun. The problem is, Extra only made one song that had more than 2 drops, and it was the song used in Unearthed. Therefore, using an extra song for Disentombed ran the potential risk of being extremely boring with a section between the drops being chores to play. However, they could avoid this if they were smart with what song they chose.
They weren't smart.
Paradigm Shift is quite possibly one of the worst songs I've ever heard in this game. The drops are uninteresting to listen to and just a casserole of dubstep sounds mixed together to create a boring chord progression that's not intense at all. The worst part though is how quiet and ambient the segments between the drops sound. The Hidden Dangers remix, which was the Unearthed song, had a constant feeling getting more and more intense the longer it went on, culminating in a final drop that is one of the most intense drops I've ever heard. The whole song builds to this culmination throughout the song, which makes that payoff much more intense and satisfying. Paradigm Shift does nothing to establish that same sort of build-up and payoff. Why am I talking about the song so much? Because it drastically affects the level and the experience one is going to have with it. You'll get bored out of your mind while playing Disentombed, waiting and waiting for you to A, get past the first drop, B, get to the second drop, C, the level's gameplay to be over, and D, the end screen to be over once you've beaten the thing. The gameplay does not drastically change in the entire 4 minutes you're playing this, and the deco isn't bad, nor is it memorable. Massive props to Jakob and the team for actually finishing this behemoth, but it's a big shame that the level unfortunately ended up as it did. Mad Mansion is a remake of Madhouse, an old 1.9 mega collab hosted by Green. Mad Mansion is basically just a modern Madhouse, but buffed to an extreme demon. Not much to talk about here. I like how the level doesn't require a shit ton of flashes to get its memory done, but it's just fine overall. Mystic has some of the worst decoration and gameplay in any Extreme Demon. Despite being built across 2 different updates, everything here looks like they did garbage, and even Jonathan's part is pretty damn bad, relying on constant flashes to mask the emptiness of the part. The gameplay is also a hot mess, full of unbalanced parts and blind transitions. Valor wasn't amazing, but it wasn't like walking on broken glass, but Mystic throws any hope of quality out of the window, and it's thus tarnished how Instinct will turn out whenever that comes out. Mystic is just awful, and a huge disappointment to people looking forward to the sequel to Valor. Fusion Z is the official sequel to Fusion 2. Yeah, that's right, Knobbelboy, fuck off, your level isn't canon, go sit with the rest of the non-canon losers in the non-canon corner. Fusion Z focuses a lot on duels and learning timings, which isn't particularly great for a 4-minute level, but the balance update fixes some of these issues. I personally really like this level. The creators took time and care to make it feel straight out of 1.9 without compromising the gameplay. I will say I'm not a fan of Zara's first part because of how bright and flashy it is, but everything else retains a consistent theme throughout the entire level, being that nice orange color scheme. There have been some complaints about the ending being a little too hard, as well as just the fact that it's 4 minutes long, but I really like watching videos of it, and it's one of my personal favorite Extreme Demons.
Why can't the hell levels be recyclable? They're clogging up the landfills. This is a medium demon, okay? I'd like you to verify this medium demon for clout. Okay, so can you verify it? Not without super buffing it to Extreme Demon.
Envy has some of the most fragile gameplay in any Extreme Demon I've ever seen. It always looks like it's about to break apart at any moment. The general consensus for this super buff medium demon is that it's usually quite annoying, which, it's a super buff medium demon, what do you expect? The decoration is the blandest standsman decoration I've ever seen, no unique boss fight or art at all. The song's pretty good, but beyond that, there's nothing of substance here once you look past the big names involved. Asmodeus is a really good level. It's got sub-bar decoration that is obviously very early 2.1, but everything else here is really good. The gameplay is considered to be super fun and consistent, but not overly complicated. The song is also really good as well, and fits the level well. I don't really have much else to add. This is a really solid level that's worth a shot if you're skilled enough. Low Death is a super buff 9-star that somehow does not suck ass. The original level, High Life, was created by Mishward across 1.9 and 2.0 and released in about mid 2.0. KrmaL then made a super buff version called Low Death filled with some stupid jokes like the red E. However, people wanted this out so much that KrmaL dropped the level for 4 years and made a shirt instead.
Capitalism.
However, earlier this year, KrmaL uploaded verification of Low Death on April Fools under the initial name Gangnam Style. The level was then raided a couple days later when people realized,
Oh, he actually verified it.
Low Death has some really weird gameplay that's either super fun or the worst thing ever, depending on who you ask. With gameplay being as strange as it is, there's about 8 different 240 Hz bugs throughout. The gameplay is also balanced in a way where the first 45% is much harder than everything else, to the point where most of the latter difficulty comes from remembering what's next, aside from a few choke points. The decoration is bad, but it's obviously meant to be. The song is really good and really illegal if you ask Warner Music Group. Low Death surprisingly doesn't suck in my eyes, though different people may have different experiences with it, and that's okay. Falcon 16 is really cool. Hosted by Lieb and verified by Zeronium, Falcon 16 has a nice consistent sky theme and really balanced and fun gameplay aside from a few impossible waves at the drop. All the parts look really good and fit the song well, which, speaking of the song, is a really good one. Not too many people have beaten this, which definitely should change since this level is really cool and deserves a lot of attention.
I need something to help me fall asleep. What are my options? Play Carnage mode.
Carnage mode is some of the most boring gameplay ever spread across 3 entire minutes. It's extremely boring to watch and play until you get to Lemons' part at the very end where it's randomly impossible. Decoration is also nothing special aside from Joho's part, which isn't even his best work. Carnage mode has an infamous reputation as being one of the worst Extreme Demons, and the rumor is well supported by facts. Vendetta is a really stupid level. It's mostly skill based aside from a few random hard timings, and has waves miles harder than anything else. The decoration is the blandest, most salty and cracker-like decoration ever. And the song is okay, I guess. The one thing this level has going for it is how short it is. If the level was any longer, it would be so much worse, but because it's barely over a minute, it's passable.
Oh shit, it's empty. It's about right. It's about right. We already did this one. No, it's a different level. Okay, let's take a look. When was this rated? This year. Why? It's fine.
Ah yes, gameplay. Blade of Justice is one of the best levels on the list. Created by LaserBlitz and Mannix, Blade of Justice went through several verifies in its unnerfed state before being verified by Rico LP. The nerfs were pretty minor, about as minor as the American Revolution. If left in its unnerfed state, Blade of Justice would still be in the top 5 to this day. Fortunately, Mannix came to his senses and realized that a level harder than Bloodlust wasn't that smart in 2017, so he ordered Rico to butcher the level to Bloodbath difficulty. That may sound like a bad thing, but the end result is one of the most fun and consistent levels on the list. Nearly everyone who has beaten it has at least had a pretty good time with it, and a lot have called it one of the best extremes. This level has a consistent blue and black color scheme in Mannix and LaserBlitz's signature styles. The level does have a difficult ending compared to the beginning, but it's not too noticeable, thankfully. The planet part is also randomly object heavy and an otherwise pretty tame level when it comes to object count and density, which isn't great, but the LDM works very well, so it's not a huge deal. Another one of my personal favorite extreme rumors that's really worth your while if you're good enough. I actually kind of like Biohazard.
This is the Holy Church of nPesta, and you're wrong.
That's nice.
Biohazard is a stalemate redux if it wasn't so mediocre. Instead of having golden and technical colors, Biohazard 6 was just a dark green for its entire runtime. I do agree that the decoration staying the same throughout is a bit of a knock against Biohazard, but the decoration is pretty good, so it makes up for that. The gameplay isn't balanced that well, with the first wave being a lot harder and inconsistent compared to everything else, which isn't great, but the rest of the level is considered to be super fun, which is great. Contrary to federal law, I actually like the song too. It gives off the perfect sense that something terrible is happening and nothing can be done about it. I'd imagine it gets annoying after a while though. I do like Biohazard, but I do see a lot of the flaws it has. Betrayal of Fate tries a lot of ideas that sound good on paper but execute them poorly. The decoration is pretty good for the most part, and it's aged quite well. The song is also pretty good, though I prefer Betrayal of Fear, the song used in Blade of Justice. The gameplay though, the gameplay is something else.
It's recyclable. Thank you, Betrayal of Fate, for being environmentally conscious trash.
Betrayal of Fate tries to be too many things at once when it comes to its gameplay. It's like Tempered Steel, but a bit more severe. I'll admit, I may have ragged on Tempered a bit too hard in the last video, but what I said in that video undoubtedly applies to BOF. The gameplay is split between three types of gameplay: skill-based, which applies to the beginning and the end, the timing sections, which apply to the ball section, then the middle and the end, and the memory sections in the middle. This really throws off the bouncing, because you've got a hard beginning and a very hard ending, but basically a free middle section once you learn it. This leads to a very boring experience where you only pass the beginning every so often, blaze through the midsection, which we'll get to, and then die at the end a bunch of times from nerves. Now, this wouldn't be terrible if the beginning and middle sections have fun and engaging gameplay, so let's see what gameplay BOF brings to the table.
I swear I saw something like this when I was in a coma.
Betrayal of Fate has the worst kind of memory, the this. This isn't fun or engaging gameplay, since you're just remembering simple patterns and clicking a couple of times. The same goes for the cube section afterwards. This isn't fun to learn or play, it's just
Click, drop, click, drop, drop, click, drop, hold, drop.
There's also gameplay on a black screen. Should be obvious why this level is bad. My opinion on Artiface has changed significantly in 1 year, so let's ask 13-year-old Brit what he thinks of Artiface.
Hi, I'm 13-year-old Brit.
Hi, I'm Present Brit.
So, why'd you call me here?
I want to know your opinion on Artifice.
I think Artifice is the best extreme demon in the game. Everything's just so good.
So here's why you're wrong.
Artifice isn't that great. Its decoration is really well sewn together, don't get me wrong. It's probably the best part of the level, if I'm being frank. However, everything else kinda loses me. The big thing I don't like is the song. What was once a super cool guitar song is now just pure sleep medicine. That may be because I heard it a bunch, but even back then, I felt like something was just off with the song compared to other heavy metal songs used in GD, like Edge of the Sword or Synergetic Enigma. The song used to, which I won't refer to by name because honestly, what the fuck, just feels different. And rewatching it for this video, I finally figured out why. The shitload of drums. In the background of the main guitar bits that sound pretty good for the most part, there's these drums which are used awfully for most of the song. I say awfully because it's really distracting hearing this for most of the level. The song becomes very dull and boring because that ever-present drone of the drums going on in the background. The song's at its best when it ditches that drone, which it does, albeit too little. The entire ending of the song is void of the annoying drone, and one section in the middle, which is the best sounding part in my opinion, also ditches the drums to sound like a kick-ass guitar solo straight out of the 80s. These parts of the song help feel captivating and enjoyable, which really help the level. As for the gameplay, it's quite buggy but pretty damn satisfying. That helps the level a bit, but syncing well to a bad song really only reminds me how bad the song is. The decoration itself is passable. Again, it's sewn really well together, but it's nothing outstanding.
Let's play Should You Play Epsilon? Hello, young sir. What refresh rate do you play GD with? I play on 240 Hz. You should not play Epsilon. Alright, thanks, kind stranger. Alright, now your turn, young lady. What refresh rate do you play GD with? I play GD on 144 Hz. You should play Epsilon. Alright, thanks.
Here we finally are. Bloodbath. The grandfather of most extreme demons. The turning point that showed just how hard levels in the game can get. The divider of the good players and the bad players. This legendary level is a true test of skill. It's number 141 on the demon list. Yeah, Bloodbath has fallen quite far from its number 1 spot. And it's a miracle it's still in the extended list after 5 years. Bloodbath is a really good level and it holds up really well, though some of that may be inflated because of the idolism, but I think most of us can agree that Bloodbath is a pretty solid level. The gameplay is a good skill-based challenge and is pretty well balanced, with there being no real break parts. The decoration is also some of the best of 1.9. It's very consistent in color and theme for the most part, but each part is diverse enough to tell them apart. Don't really have any complaints about Bloodbath, just a really solid level and one worthy of the legendary status it has.
I could feel myself getting older just watching a video of this. I think I died and this is purgatory. 4-minute extreme demons for the rest of my existence. Please help. Oh my god, purgatory sucks. I saw a level made by mobile players. I'm glad what I saw is too irrelevant to exist in the real world, so let's get back to some actually quality extreme demons.
Molten Mercury is my second favorite extreme demon in the game, and technically my favorite rated extreme. Molten is the sequel to Temperance 2, which I already thought was a solid level, and makes it better. The level is much better balanced and has much better sync and gameplay. Speaking of which, the gameplay is super satisfying to watch. And it doesn't mix up its style that much, but it's still distinct in all the parts, which I really like. The decoration is also outstanding, keeping a consistent orange and mechanical grey color scheme that isn't found in any other extreme demon. All the parts look really good and blend together really well. I really do love this level, and hope to one day beat it and have a really good time doing so.
Oh, we're fucked.
Under Lava Land is quite possibly the most unbalanced level on the list. The first 20% is actually a 6-star. Then the level starts hopping around in difficulty by 10 spots each time there's a new part, and then the last couple of clicks are literally 2-star. The decoration is also really bad for 90% of the runtime, and the song is super hard on the ears. There's one fact I remember about this level, and it was the first rated extreme after Bloodlust. When that's the most important thing you've accomplished, you know you failed as a level. Hateful Reflection is the cheesiest extreme demon ever made. From the corny killbot text to the repetitive gameplay, a lot is going against this level. I don't mind its existence, it could be a lot worse, but I don't think it's that good. Considering the level remains basically the same decoration throughout, it's really hard to give this level a bunch of praise. Most people who have beaten it have said the gameplay is alright, but nothing outstanding, which is how I feel about this level. If it weren't for the corniness, it'd be a lot more forgettable, but I think that's okay. At Marble is okay. The decoration is quite subpar and the gameplay isn't that fun surprisingly, as it isn't balanced well, a rarity for Penida. Not too much else to say other than the fact that the entire region A2 Marble, which is the sequel to this, exists is because Schiffles changed the song on Newgrounds to make it sound worse.
90% of the level isn't Azure. Stop! You know, I want to make a 9 circles level, but I don't know what color scheme to choose. Well, just throw up into your toilet and whatever color your vomit is, just make that the color scheme. What the fuck?
Down base sucks. I think we all know that, but just in case, here you go. Idols is another level where you either love it or hate it. Personally, I lean towards the love it side, though I do see its flaws. Idols does a lot of things well, like having a lot of varied styles and 1.9 callbacks, but it also has some flaws, namely the proximity part having some of the worst gameplay ever, and the level being a bit flashy at times. I do think Idols is one of the few extreme demons that pulls off having a runtime over 3 minutes, and that's because the song is amazing and engaging the whole way through, which is important to keeping the player engaged in the level. Idols is one of my personal favorite extremes, but I do understand why some people don't like it.
We're now officially done with the main demon list. We've seen some good, some mediocre, and a lot of bad, and it's only gonna get worse with the legacy levels, trust me. Anyways, I have to go. I have to attend a lawsuit. I got sued by Loops' liver after I failed to save him. I think I'm being sued for manslaughter, though I'm not entirely sure. I'll report back once it's done. I got the death sentence. Oh, would you look at the time? It's been 4 months since I last talked about extreme demons. Better fix that.
So today is part 4 where we'll look at the legacy list. Of course, I'm going to talk about new levels that got placed between when I finished the script of the last video and now, which in this case, is over half the video. So without further ado, I bring you part 4, half legacy levels and half new place levels. This level is the funniest level on the list. From its name to getting a day 1 rate to being a top 10, Sorry Never Clear is hilarious. What makes it even funnier is that it's not even a bad level. Being a remake of a very old Impossible level of the same name, Sorry Never Clear actually has rather good decoration in terms of what it's going for. It feels like a modernized 1.6 level, while also having a fairly tame object count. The gameplay isn't great, for God's sake, it's an Impossible level from 1.6, of course the gameplay is going to be amazing. But with that aside, Sorry Never Clear is really comedic gold, and it's worth trying just for that alone.
The whiteboard never lies.
The Rupture is a level with decoration and gameplay by Canes that sort of takes inspiration from the awful 1.9 Insane Demon Rupture by Checo. Verified by our favorite Tartarus Verified, the Rupture really has nothing worth noting. The gameplay seems okay, it doesn't seem good, but it also doesn't seem awful. The decoration is solid, it's nothing super special, but it's par for the course at this point. I don't really love the song for a GD level, as it doesn't seem to have a good melee, so the gameplay is lost for what it should sync to. The Rupture is fine, but it's easily the most forgettable top 10 in a long time.
Literally, what the hell is this? The gameplay doesn't sync to the song, the decoration is okay at best. The gameplay looks enjoyable as an automobile accident, and the whole thing just seems like the combination of the worst parts of every top 30. Okay, so, I ascend to heaven. I descend to madness. I crescend to France. Notice how one of these doesn't fit? Yeah, it's the same thing with Cybernetic Crescent.
Cybernetic Crescent is the newest Viper Mega collab, and I have very mixed feelings on it. The decoration is good for a lot of the parts, though parts like Rustam and Funky feel like they're missing something. They look like they should have more of a background, but they don't. The gameplay is also very split, in my opinion. The first 40% is incredibly boring to watch and play, and it doesn't help that the two hardest parts are Nazgub and Vipin, which both come right before the drop. This really isn't the fault of tech or any of the playtesters though, since both parts are very weird and hard to balance without butchering the parts. The level definitely picks up at the drop, where the gameplay remains to be pretty solid, albeit quite learny for the rest of the level. However, another issue is that Semifying and Serpunge aren't low detailed enough, which is bad since those are the two parts with the most objects. I think Cybernetic definitely would have turned out better if the level started at Funky, or 20% in. That way it wouldn't be as boring to try and get to the drop. Digital was structured in the same way, so Cybernetic would feel more related to the other levels if that was how it was structured. Oh, and the end screen is amazing. Good job, Furs and Zalspert, you two knocked it out of the park. Timor is pretty cool, created by Colorbolt and Maxi25 who did the gameplay and decoration respectively, and verified by Doggy. Timor nails the tone it's going for. Being a horror-themed extreme demon, the backgrounds and animations work really well with the song to create this unsettling atmosphere. However, I also like that the level isn't full-on horror, like Peaceful, which means anyone can enjoy it, even small children. The level also has an extremely tame object count at just over 51k objects, which is insane when you look at what Maxi was able to do. The gameplay is also really good according to most victors. It's very fair and skill based, so you always know what you died to. Don't have any complaints with Timor, it's really good in all departments. Lucid Chaos is alright. It's definitely the best level in the Lucid Nightmares series, which consists of this, Lucid Nightmares, and Concaved Memories. But I still don't think it's amazing. The level is quite colorful, though the part quality is quite inconsistent. The gameplay also seems okay as well, though some parts definitely seem worse than others. The song is also really good, despite being the weakest song used so far in my opinion. I feel like since Lucid Chaos doesn't have the infamous reputation that Nightmares had, it's a potential victim to being forgotten, which is never fun, but there really isn't much else to say here.
The hell is this?
I'm very torn on Sinister Incision. It's a good level, the gameplay is enjoyable according to most victors, and the decoration is really good and sewn together really well. But I'm not the biggest fan of this level because of one thing. It's a remake of Night Terrors by Heinz. Heinz is famous for his super fun gameplay, and I feel a decent portion of that comes from his skill-based and somewhat sight-readable gameplay style. Sinister Incision isn't very sight-readable. I think if Sinister chose to only take inspiration from Night Terrors and not be a remake, then it would have turned out better in my opinion. It's still a good level, as all hybrid mega collabs are, but it's definitely my least favorite.
Please! Stop! Oh my God, just stop making L levels, please. It's not that hard.
Libertas is a cool level. It's balancing. This level is insanely unbalanced and unfair, which is a shame since boogie levels are usually really solid and really fun. Hopefully the level can be patched up with a balance update before more victors come in, since there's currently only one. I really do hope the best for this level, but that can only happen with a complete revamp of the balancing. Icaros is a pretty okay level. The decoration is good, but nothing super outstanding. The song and gameplay are also solid and quite good according to most people. I will say that I think Icaros well overstays its welcome, considering a good minute of the level is very slow and boring with a very low CPS. The artwork in this level is phenomenal and probably the best part of the level, but even then it's mostly in the first minute and the end screen, which makes the 3-minute length seem even more unneeded. Icaros is alright, doesn't do a whole lot to stand out, but it's also not that bad. Music Gay is a really cool level. Being one of the only Rainbow 9 Circles levels, it definitely executes this idea well. It does look quite dated as it was released in 2.0 and rated in 2.1, but it still holds up decently well in my eyes. The level is very bright, however, which is a shame, but it does look beautiful in my opinion. The gameplay is also considered quite good for a 9 Circles level, albeit there are some choke points scattered into the second half of the wave. I'm not angry that this got rated, in fact I'm quite happy. It's a cool level that should have been rated when it was released, but better late than never I suppose.
I don't care. I just don't.
Hey, what level knocked Bloodbath off the list?
A sheep-themed remake of a 1.6 Impossible level.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
I'm not lying. I only lie when I'm not telling the truth.
Alpha Bar X is okay. I think the gameplay is actually pretty decent, though it does look quite boring. The decoration and the song are really solid, and the various sheep arts throughout are just so adorable. I'm glad this level has a bit of its own identity and can be remembered for more than just the level that knocked Bloodbath off the list. What the hell is this? Monster Cat is the sequel to Demonica, and it's 100 times better, and I still don't like it. I mean, it's competent, but basic competence at making a level shouldn't be celebrated. The parts aren't well strung together at all, and the gameplay is so average it makes Electrolux look like a pioneer in good gameplay. Monster Cat is the most D-tier level could be, so let's move on.
Hey, Loops!
Hey, Brit.
Let's watch Full Detail Ecstasy together.
Sure.
A few minutes later.
Ecstasy is fucking stupid. I hate the song, I hate the gameplay, and goddamn I hate the decoration. It's an actual fucking seizure on anything except no detail mode. Do not give this level any fucking attention, it sucks so much ass.
And with that abomination out of the way, I can finally talk about the levels I would have started with had no levels been placed between December 20th and February 8th. However, I'm quite tired from looking at all that shit, so I'm gonna go play Just Dance as a break. Okay. I'm back. What's the next level I'm gonna be talking about?
Just Dance by Texic and more.
Oh, come on!
Just Dance is fine. Inflective has some unique gameplay, which is pretty cool, but that's all about that's worth mentioning with this level. Very average level in my eyes.
Why are KrmaL's joke levels some of his best levels?
Conical Depression somehow works despite being an extended challenge level. A lot of people have really enjoyed the level, and a lot of people haven't, which is the same divide on Low Death, funnily enough. Conical's decoration is just classic 1.0, and the song is also just stereo madness. I like Conical quite a bit, and a lot of people also seem to feel that way. Phosphorescent is a cool level. An entirely solo level by Lime, Phosphorescent has cool decoration and good gameplay past the first 30%. The first 30% looks and plays incredibly wonky, but the rest of the level picks up the slack. Phosphorescent isn't going to win any awards, but it's still a really cool and solid level.
My thoughts on Prismatic Haze are exactly my thoughts on Chromatic Haze.
Dude, bro, you said this last time. What are your thoughts on Prismatic Haze?
Exactly my thoughts on Chromatic Haze.
Oh my god, dude.
Prismatic Haze is really cool. I love the decoration, I love the sync, and I love the gameplay. Both levels are really good, and you should try both if you're skilled enough. Tempest Tornado is another solid level. Aside from the ship at 2%, the gameplay here seems really solid, and the decoration is also good. Once again, there's not too much to say, it's just another solid level that deserves recognition. Aurora is not a good level. The decoration is extremely dated for the most part, and the gameplay is all over the place. Some parts seeming fun and other parts seeming weird and awkward. I like how some of the duels flow as well as the space section, but that's really as far as my compliments go. The boss fight is also awful. Even for the time it was made, it was considered to be a poor boss fight. Arctic Arena is easily the worst Eclipse Mega Collab. The decoration is mediocre at best, but oftentimes looks incredibly dated and bad. Its gameplay is also very poor, even after the nerf date. And the song is just Theory of Everything 2, which, while not a bad song, does not help the level at all. Arctic is one of the most forgettable levels of all time, and for good reason. I don't think anyone wants to play whatever the hell this is. I like this level, though I see why some people don't like it. I think the decoration is charming and holds up decently. The gameplay is pretty weird, as expected from the Korean mega collabs, and the consensus is pretty divided over whether it's fun or not. I think the level looks fun and satisfying, but I also found the Hell Zone fun, so what do I know? The song is good, but a bit overused in extremes. If you hate this level, by all means tell me that I'm wrong, but I like this level a lot. I also like this level.
Dude, is there any level you dislike?
I'm glad you asked, because now I get to use the 70-page essay I've been meaning to talk about every level in Geometry Dash that I dislike. So first off, I dislike Tartarus because...
2 days later.
And that's all the levels I dislike. So where were we? Oh yeah, ABP.
ABP is Team N2's second mega collab and widely considered to be their best. I really like the consistent ice theming throughout. It really helps the level stand out. Decoration is pretty dated as it's from mid 2.0, but it's not as bad as some other decoration from the time. Gameplay is pretty weird and unbalanced, but a lot of people find it enjoyable, which is good to hear. The song is probably the worst part, but it's still an alright song. Probably one of the best Extreme Demons from 2.0, though there isn't much competition in that department.
Stop making hell levels! Yeah, so is this? Oh, this isn't a Stormfly Son Hell level? It's a Team N2 level? It has wave? I was just informed that this is not a traditional hell level, so let's actually take a look at it.
The Hell Factory is awfully balanced and has the weirdest and worst gameplay out of the Team N2 trilogy. The difficulty spikes a lot throughout and the learning curve is intense. The decoration is actually pretty alright in my eyes. It doesn't have too much early 2.0 in it, which is always a plus. The song is just the Yada song, which means nothing is added and nothing is lost. This is the only Team N2 level that I dislike, and I really dislike it. Annihilation Nation was Xylonox's first rated extreme, and one of his worst levels by default. I still think the level looks amazing. It's basically almost as good as factory style could get, with the best being Berserk. The gameplay is awfully balanced, with the two waves being way too hard for what the rest of the level's difficulty is. As such, the thoughts on the gameplay are very negative, though the non-wave sections are considered to be very fun at least. The song is also pretty cool, though I'm not super in love with it. Xylonox has made much better stuff since this, but if this is his worst rated level, then you know he has a great lineup of levels. Mirage is an old mega collab hosted by Golden that was verified by Technical in late summer of 2020. Despite being nearly 3 years old at this point, I think Mirage looks pretty good. The pre-drop looks out of place with all the other parts, but the rest of the level flows well. The gameplay is also considered to be quite fun, albeit learny and a little awkward at times. I also really like the song. More people should play this level and give this level more attention in my opinion.
It's literally half a level, it can't be judged fairly.
Extinction is a weird level. Originally starting life as a rated level without a verification video, it was later verified by Chom and then Kappa Nappy. The level then received a massive nerf date by Extravagon, which dropped it 40 spots on the demon list, and that version is the current version on the servers. Many people have called this one of the worst extremes because of how little it was playtested, even after 3 updates. Even if the gameplay was good, the decoration is really bland and subpar, which is surprising since there were some talented creators behind this like Slim Jim, Nico99, and Jacob Rosso. Not much else to say here. I like the song, but that's about it. I hate Essentia. It's way too long, way too hard on the eyes, and has really annoying gameplay. The song also blows fat ass. I don't get why people like it. A terrible level that no one should play.
Chlorine's part literally makes me go blind, so therefore the entire level is bad.
Penultimate phase is pretty cool. It uses the better part of the song than the ultimate phase and has much better gameplay and decoration all around. The level relies a bit too much on bright glow for my liking, but the level is still solid. Not groundbreaking by any means, but still a solid 8 out of 10 level. Aftermath is annoyingly disappointing. For being the finale to arguably the most famous trilogy in GD, it falls flat in all regards. The gameplay is abysmal and only fun if you can blaze through it thanks to 240Hz. The decoration is a straight copy and paste from Cataclysm. This level legitimately should not be considered the sequel to Bloodbath in my opinion. What should have been done is have the extension of Bloodlust be the blueprint for Aftermath's gameplay, and then build off of that. I also think the level should have been called Armageddon, since that's a logical step up from Bloodbath. Aftermath is just an all-around failure, and there's really no point in giving it more attention than it deserves. Which is none. Innards has quite the story behind it. Originally meant to be a 6 or 7 star level, since he super buffed the level to Tartarus difficulty. Keep in mind this was in 2017 to 2018 when Bloodlust was the hardest demon and Yetigarasu and Sonic Wave were both in the top 10. The level gained a lot of attention because of its difficulty, and Sensei struggled to make good progress on the level, for obvious reasons. Eventually he dropped the level and temporarily quit GD, but he later came back and released a much easier version, which is the rated version on the servers. Innards is an alright level. It's extremely unbalanced, which makes the experience very boring. The decoration is really cool for how little objects it uses, and the song is also very good. I'm very glad this level was not released as a top 1, as all of the problems with the balancing would likely be amplified at a higher difficulty. Gridlocked is subpar. The gameplay is awkward and messy like Eclipse's other Mega Clubs, but at least this level doesn't have any godforsaken core in it. I don't have a lot else to say here. It's better than Arctic Arena, but worse than Spatial Rend in my opinion.
It's aged like milk.
Novelist is another pretty cool level. A completely solo level by Grillex, Novelist takes a lot of inspiration from Laserblitz levels in the gameplay and decoration department, though the decoration is lacking a lot of the detail and theming Laserblitz is renowned for. The gameplay has a steep learning curve, but most victors say that it's decently fun, which is good. The song is also good. It's not amazing, but still a solid 7 out of 10. That's a good way to describe Novelist in general. It's a good 7 out of 10 level that isn't going to leave any negative impact on the player. This is one of my favorite Extreme Demons because of how unique and goofy it is. I just love everything about this level, even the unorthodox gameplay. There's so many little details here that I really love. The level just also stays under the 80k object limit somehow, which is really good. The level just oozes creativity and I really love it for that. Not much else to say here. The level is just so creative and unique in so many ways. NO is a really good level. It's the pinnacle of Metal Face's style, and it results in a very unique and memorable level. There's some problems with the balancing, as the mirror wave is much harder than anything else, and the level's a bit flashy, but it's all around a good level. I don't think it's one of the best Extremes ever, but it's still really good.
How many of these are there?
666 is one of the most unique Extreme Demons in the game. It also probably inspired Red Rooms and Man-Man, both of which are appalling levels in terms of how they're decorated, so that's fun. 666 is themed around gore and hell, and executes the theme very well while still remaining kid-friendly enough. What I mean by that is that there's not a decapitated naked woman as the end screen, unlike in Man-Man. 666 is incredibly flashy like Killbot, so it's not for everyone, and the gameplay is also memory-based, which may turn some off. I hate the song, it's the one part of the level that I actively despise, but everything else here is really good. While not for everyone, I still think 666 is a good level and one of Xylonox's best. I've always liked this level. A solo level by Vismus that was verified by KrmaL in very early 2.1. Nibelheim is a very unique level. It's a memory-based demon that you could argue is sky-themed, but either way the decoration is really solid and it's aged pretty well. Some of the gameplay is pretty fucky, like the build-up queue, but a lot of the level flows very well and fits the song very nicely. It doesn't break any new ground by any means, but it's still a really solid level in my eyes. Always hated this level. The decoration aged like milk, the gameplay is incredibly awkward and weird, and none of the parts fit together. The level also ends at 77% and has a 30-second end screen. So that's great. I really love the song, but everything else just falls apart like a sandcastle when the waves hit. A2 Marble is the Geometry Dash equivalent of a movie that was only released to fulfill a contract. Made out of necessity after Schiffels randomly decided to change the song and make it sound worse for no reason at all, A2 Marble is a poster child for low effort. Only a quarter of the gameplay was actually made by Penta, and it shows. Most of the level relies on visual sync with orbs and holding, and not clink sync like every other Penata level that had a lot of effort put into it. Decoration is also incredibly disappointing. Nobody here tried, despite there being good creators behind this like Nico99, Hell Pegasus, and Sminx. It all feels like the bare minimum to get a feature rate, which is sad, but that's unfortunately the truth. Had Penata made all of the gameplay and the team put more effort into their parts, this could have been one of the best extremes, but alas.
It's the funny free extreme demon if you can do a top 5 wave challenge. I'm gonna show you how to make your very own the antimatter by Bionox and more. Step 1. Take base cave. Step 2. Make it purple. Step 3. Question your existence.
Marathon is a level that tries a unique concept and executes it to its full potential. The concept is a 4-minute memory level, and nothing gets in the way of that concept. The decoration isn't great, but I feel it's supposed to be that way as a homage to pre-1.8/1.9 levels, which relied a lot on memory in order to be difficult. I also like how there's 26 different sections throughout the level. It's a nice little touch. The song is also really good and gets exponentially faster and intense the longer the level goes on. Really getting your heart rate up and your nerves on edge. I know it's not fun to learn or play, but I still think this is one of my top 5 favorite extremes, because everything works in favor of the concept of the level, which allows the concept to blossom and truly stand out against other extremes.
This is why it's sometimes best to forget about the past.
Previously said this was my least favorite extreme demon in the game, and I'll admit, it doesn't hold the crown of disappointment anymore. Don't get me wrong, it's still on my bottom 5 extremes, but it's not the worst one. It's a remake of an old Impossible level, and as to be expected with remakes of old Impossible levels, plays like hot ass. It's broken up by awkward memory parts that don't fit at all, and there's also a random 2-player straight fly, so that's great. Decoration is very obviously 2.0, so take that how you will. There's not much else really to say here. It plays about as well as Twitch support helping nPesta get his channel back, but that's about it.
Well, we did it. We started the legacy list. The levels will only continue to get worse as we get deeper into the legacy list, but that's for another video and another time. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and real quick, I just want to say that I lost my death sentence, so I'm no longer dead. But I'm also not alive. So I've been living it up in Schrodinger's land ever since I last put a camera in front of my face. I've had a pretty good time. I've met some folks, had a couple milks, but I got bored fast. So I've been trying to figure out a way how to get out of here, but so far I've had no luck. I don't get it. All 3 of my slightly different equations have just resulted in a picture of a ladder with the name Bloodlust Ladder on top of it. Granted, I probably should have changed more than one variable, but the point still stands. So I thought I might use whatever this is for a video. Plus it lacked as a break from the work I started 10 minutes ago and lost motivation to finish. However, we need to get one thing clear. What the fuck is a ladder?
Ah yes, the ladder. Man's best friend when it comes to getting on top of roofs. A practical invention that has been around a little bit longer than Chris Hemsworth. It also has a new meaning when it comes to Geometry Dash.
Thank God. I was wondering when RobTop would start having GD crossovers.
The ladder system, coined by our second favourite British Geometry Dash player Brandon Larkin, is a system in which one selects a variety of easier levels that progressively get harder, which culminates in a big final step. This system was first used in Brandon Larkin's Erebus ladder, and would later be used in his Crimson Planet ladder and Luigi DB's Bloodlust ladder. Now, I like the idea of having a ladder system like this, but one thing bugged me that was present in all 3 cases. You see, none of these ladders had levels that focused on honing specific skills used in the final level. For example, the Lost Existence was used in the Erebus ladder. Yes, I want to learn how to make pasta, so to prepare for that, I'm going to take a wood carving class. What's the point in having a ladder if none of the levels help build the skills needed for the big finale? This part bugged me a lot, and as someone who likes things to be organized and logical, I could not let this injustice slide. However, To be fair to Brandon Larkin, there's not many levels like Erebus or Crimson Planet, so it's somewhat passable. Luigi's Bloodlust ladder, on the other hand,
How the fuck is hatred going to help you with bloodlust?
Bloodlust is pretty hard, and it primarily utilizes some of the most common skills in extremes, ship and endurance. It comes in second for hardest ship-based level, and third for hardest endurance level. Now you might be wondering, why not do a Tartarus or Zodiac ladder?
Because fuck you, I'm the one with the camera.
Before we start narrowing down our levels, I'm just going to make one final adjustment. The traditional ladder system has 10 levels, including the final level at the top. However, in the ladder I'm going to be making today, there will be a total of 15 levels. 10 levels on the ladder, 4 alternates, and Bloodlust itself. My reasoning for this is that I imagine Bloodlust as the destination that you use the ladder to reach, which I think is a fair visualization of the whole thing. Anyways, let's start making the ladder. Obviously, the first levels we have to disqualify are anything harder than Bloodlust, because, duh. These levels are all harder than Bloodlust, so they do not apply for the ladder. I'm also going to disqualify every other top 20 except Visible Ray. Visible Ray is a weird case. It's pretty long and tests everything, which is important since Bloodlust is more than just ship.
Alright, I am ready for this calculus test. I forgot how to do long division.
I won't eliminate Visible Ray just yet. We'll see what else we have when we've trimmed the fat. The next step in finding potential candidates for our list is getting rid of levels that are the opposite of Bloodlust, which in this case would be a short, timing, memory, or wave-based level. These levels all would be detrimental to add to the ladder as they don't test skills used in Bloodlust. I'm also going to disqualify any level easier than Bloodbath aside from a few Excel levels around Bloodbath's difficulty. It would just get messy if I included levels easier than Bloodbath in the ladder. Now, you might think we have all the levels we would need to make our ladder, but that's not the case. Not all Excel levels are built the same. Levels like Freedom Away and Artiface are more about learning sync-based parts. These skills don't really apply to Bloodlust, so while these levels could help with endurance, there's much better levels suited to a Bloodlust ladder. If this was a calculated core ladder, these levels would work really well here, but alas, this is a Bloodlust ladder.
I thought this was a tutorial on how to make mac and cheese.
I mean, I can't blame you. Bloodlust and mac and cheese are pretty much interchangeable, honestly.
As such, these levels are being excluded from the list. These levels could help you with your endurance, but aside from being long, they have completely different skill sets needed than what is needed for Bloodlust. Something like Titan Complex could be used as an alternate if absolutely necessary, but these levels should not be the first things you put on the ladder. I'm also going to eliminate the Sonic Wave Quadrology for the same reason. The only skill they share with Bloodlust is endurance.
With all that factored in, we're left with a list of levels that share at least one of the two major skills needed for Bloodlust, but also don't have any skills that conflict with those skills. We can finally start creating the ladder, and the first level I'm going to put on the ladder is Bloodbath.
Why in the world would you choose that level?
Luke's just gonna make your mac and cheese.
Bloodlust is a remake of Bloodbath. Of course I'm going to make it the first level in the ladder. It tests ship skill and endurance, and it's just the right amount of other game modes in it to allow you to not be unprepared for them in Bloodlust.
I'm also going to put Electrolux as one of the 4 alternates.
That level sucks, though.
I never said this was going to be a fun experience.
Electrolux is a tad easier than Bloodbath, so if you've already beaten Bloodbath or don't want to beat it for whatever reason, Electrolux will suffice. This slightly nudges out Glacial Torrent since Glacial has more duels in it, but both are acceptable alternates. For my ladder, I'm going to put Electrolux as an alternate and disqualify Glacial, but the two are pretty interchangeable. I'm going to disqualify Epsilon and Atmosphere as well, since both levels are directly above Bloodbath and it would be detrimental to only have the ladder advance one space at a time, since we only have 10 levels on it, especially considering that all the levels currently mentioned are in the Legacy list. I also don't want to clog up the alternate levels with them, so they'll be disqualified. Both could function as first steps in the ladder, so if you'd rather beat either of these levels instead of Bloodbath, go ahead.
The next level I chose for the ladder is Ancestral Calamity. I did not think of a better way to reveal the name.
This was a tough choice. Both this and Blade of Justice are quite similar in difficulty and both have their pros and cons. Ultimately, however, I think Ancestral is a bit more beneficial as it's significantly longer, whereas BOJ is just under 2 minutes. Ancestral also tests everything, which is important as, say it with me now,
Bloodlust is not just shit.
Unfortunately for you BOJ fans, I will disqualify instead of placing it as an alternate, as it is still a legacy level. I know it hurts to do this, but otherwise the alternates will all be easy levels, and that's not a great game plan. I will also disqualify Carnage Mode, Phobos, and Dimension Breaker, as all are too close to Ancestral Calamity and difficulty to justify placing them on the ladder or having them as alternates. Trust me, you're not missing much by skipping these levels.
For the third level on the ladder, I chose eggs? Oh, wait a minute, this is my grocery list ladder. The actual third level is Asmodeus.
Probably the most questionable choice on the ladder, Asmodeus is seemingly the opposite of Bloodlust, but its gameplay is structured quite similarly to the extension of Bloodlust. It's not an exact copy, but the similarities are apparent enough. The extension is one of the parts of Bloodlust people struggle with the most, so having some prior experience with gameplay like it is useful. Envy and Mystic are both levels that could also give you some experience with the gameplay of the extension of Bloodlust, but both are also filled with a lot more nonsense than Asmodeus, so that eliminates both of them. Next up is a really difficult choice to make. Disentombed is one of the longest extreme demons, so adding it to the ladder would really help with the endurance aspect of Bloodlust. However, Disentombed's pacing is very different from that of Bloodlust. Disentombed has a good 2 minutes of slow, low CPS gameplay, whereas Bloodlust rarely slows down for more than a few seconds. I'll put Disentombed as an alternate, just in case anyone who uses this ladder is really bad at endurance and wants to drastically improve. Fabricated Thoughts, Shockbreaker, Ithacropolis, and Galactic Shift are all levels that could work if absolutely needed, but there's much better levels that support the skills needed for Bloodlust, so all 4 are going to get disqualified. I gave Luigi some shit earlier for his Bloodlust ladder choices, but in all honesty, he did choose some very solid levels for it. One of those levels was a Thanatos, but I feel very weird about what to do with it. It doesn't boost the skills needed for Bloodlust enough to justify putting it straight onto the ladder, but at the same time, I don't want to use up 3 alternates this early on. I unfortunately have to disqualify Thanatos, but that's not without much consideration. Because of this, I've organized a funeral for Thanatos' unfortunate removal. He was a good man. He was a good man. Good soldier and a good contender. But as the old saying goes, a Thanatos walked so Infernal Abyss could run.
Damn it, I just revealed the 4th level of the ladder.
Infernal Abyss is almost the perfect level for a Bloodlust ladder. Testing ship and wave skills and basically nothing else, Infernal Abyss has a harder second half, which is a possibility one might encounter while facing Bloodlust. And there's also some small ball and UFO sections like in Bloodlust. Will it be fun?
No.
From Infernal Abyss, we hit a fork in the road. Both 2-1-1 and Audio Expulsion are good levels for the ladder that really need to be chosen on a case-by-case basis. If you need to improve your ship and wave skill, go for 2-1-1. If you need to get better at everything, go for Audio Expulsion. For this reason, I'm going to add both at the 5th spot on the ladder. Keep in mind that you should choose one of these based on what you need to improve on more, but doing both won't hurt either. Surge of the Shield falls into the same boat as Shockbreaker and Galactic Shift. If needs be, you can use it as a replacement, but only then.
If you happen to like Surge of the Shield, I've dialed some therapists to understand why you like such a shit level. Speaking of shit levels, I'm a bad person, I know.
Astral Divinity may suck donkey balls, but it does test ship skill more than most other levels here, so unfortunately, it goes on the ladder.
Can this day get any sadder?
Every second you spend not making mac and cheese, the worse your mental state gets. These are facts.
While you do present a compelling argument, I have one ultimate rebuttal. I'll do it later.
Darn, it appears my argument has been destroyed. I will now go back to talking about the Bloodlust ladder.
Yeah, is garbage for Bloodlust and garbage in general. I don't know how it made it this far, but it's getting disqualified. Moving on. Glory is a good level for the ladder, but it's really bright, and adding it directly to the ladder would mean only 3 of the levels would be main list. However, I can't deny its use in strengthening ship and endurance, so I'll add it as an alternate. Now, we've entered the scary main list, and we've got quite a few contenders here. To start off, Ethereal Artiface doesn't contribute enough to the skill set we've been building by this point to justify even as an alternate, so it's getting disqualified. The same goes for Stygian Machinery, Lucid Chaos, Edge of the Blade, and Omicron. These levels are mostly just long levels that test everything, which means their inclusion in the ladder should only be if there wasn't any better levels, and there are better levels, so they shouldn't be considered. Fabrication falls under the same umbrella as Disentombed, so I'll put it as our fourth and final alternate. From here on out, the levels are going to get much harder, so be prepared. Right away, we're encountered with two very beneficial levels, being Step to Hell and Delta Interface. Considering the two are around the same difficulty, Step to Hell beats out Delta Interface by a landslide. This unfortunately means Delta Interface has been disqualified, even though it's the better level. Here's a reminder that the goal isn't to make the most fun Bloodlust ladder, it's to make the best Bloodlust ladder in terms of skill building, so Step to Hell wins. We then encounter a very difficult decision to make. You see, the 9th level of the ladder is Yatagarasu, as it is literally baby Bloodlust in every way. As such, we have two options to consider. The first option is we pick Photovoltaic 2 and build up the ship skills even more, but then take a 23 spot jump to Yatagarasu. The other option is jumping 18 spots to Dark Flare and building up everything, which makes the jump to Yatagarasu more manageable. I think at the end of the day, it's smarter to go for PV2 to make sure the ship skill is locked in completely. Doing that will make the Yatagarasu jump less of a jump, so as you'll be more proficient in ship. With that, we have two levels to choose for our final level, Visible Ray or Ouroboros. Both are much harder than Yata, but I think ultimately it's better to go with Visible Ray. Ouroboros is much too learning to help with Bloodlust, whereas Visible Ray tests everything.
So there we have it. That's my Bloodlust ladder. I'm curious if anyone watching actually uses this, and if so, please let me know what you think. I'm probably not going to do other ladders in the future, since most other notably hard levels would require a similar ladder, or just straight up not require a ladder. Anyways, I'm gonna head over to Loops' house and... Oh, of course. He burned his house down, what a surprise.
If only I had a tutorial on how to make it.
I'm not getting into this argument for the 5th time, but how the hell do you burn your house down 5 times because you didn't know how to make mac and cheese?
I didn't know what I was doing. Okay, stop judging me.
You are so stupid, dude.
Why don't you make a tutorial on how to make mac and cheese? This can be prevented in the future.
No. I figured out time travel!
Oh, I mean, that's nice, good job, but why should I care? It's not related to extreme demons, right?
That's where you're wrong. I've managed to construct a time machine that's powered by my worthless opinions on extreme demons.
Well, now you have my attention. Why do we even need a time machine?
I don't know about you, but I miss being alive, so I've decided to construct a time machine so I can go back in time and stop myself from botching an athlete's foot surgery.
But I had a heart attack in my liver.
Yeah, the surgical procedure for that is called athlete's foot surgery.
Didn't know that.
Yeah, not many people know that, but all that aside, I need to start talking about extreme demons to power up the time machine.
You know the deal by this point. I talk about extreme demons. I'm going to start with all the levels that need to be placed on Point Crate as of May 9th, 2021, since there's a lot that needs to be placed. Anyways, without further ado, let's get this time machine up and running. This level is amazing. There's really nothing like it in terms of both gameplay and decoration. I really can't describe just how great this is, nor can I really describe what I specifically like about it. It's a trip, alright, and boy is it impressive at what Notslet and Dynid were able to do. If your eyes can handle it, I highly recommend watching a video of this, since the level really can't be put into words. It's something truly special that I don't think we'll ever see again in this game, and that's alright by me. Silent Club is the newest former impossible level to be legitimately beaten, following Tartarus, Thinking Space, and Sorry Never Clear. It's a fucking brutal experience, with an 11 CPS spam placed right in the middle of the level. Good job to Luqualizer for actually beating this hellish abomination. It's weird to see this actually rated and legitimately verified after over 5 years. Again, Luqualizer is a fucking beast for being able to beat this, and there's really not much else to say. It's an awful level to play, but god damn is it an achievement to beat it. Good luck to anyone brave enough to attempt this. It will be an awful experience.
Platinum's interface series is like the sequel trilogy of Star Wars.
They were directed by J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson?
No.
Oh, then how are they similar?
Both have a good first installment, then a second installment that had a lot of potential but fumbled due to exterior issues, and then a third installment that ruins the other two because of how bad it is.
Omega Interface did not need to exist. It barely feels related to the established interface style of gameplay, and my god are the colors bad. While grey and red can be used well to create a mechanical theme, it's not done well here at all. The gameplay is also incredibly hard to see and follow, and the song is fat ass. Platinum really dropped the ball on this one, and it's a shame since it's his last level. I wish Platinum had finished Sigma Interface instead. That level had a strong start and only turned out bad because it was half finished. Unfortunately, this is the timeline that we live in, and there's nothing we can do about it.
Didn't you just say you built a time machine?
It's a one-time use thing. I'd rather be alive and have Omega Interface exist than Omega Interface not exist but stay like this.
Oh, why is it one use? Why not make it have multiple uses? What was your thought process here?
The more questions you ask, the less I want to save your life.
Oh, okay.
This level is so empty. It feels like nothing is going on, and it's actual sleep medicine. The gameplay and song are both terrible. The song starts out alright, but that all goes down the shitter when the drop hits. I don't know why this new creating trend is using the worst songs ever and ripping off Para, but that's what's happening, and this level is one of those levels. The only good thing about this level is how low its object count is, but that's not much of a compliment because the level literally never has a background. I really don't like this level and levels like it, and unfortunately there's more of those levels to come. Advanced Airstream isn't great. I think the big thing to take away when talking about Advanced is that a lot of the creators hadn't found their footing yet. The level is quite old, so it does make sense, but I think if the level was redecorated with the new skills and styles that the creators had gained since they made their parts, it would have turned out better. Think sort of like the AP team work ethic, but instead of 300,000 objects and ugly core decoration, it's decoration that's actually rate-worthy. Beyond the data decoration, the level is pretty fine in the other departments.
It's a 9 circles level inspired by the 9 circles levels that N-Level created. What more do you want me to say? It's Corretta but longer. What more do you want me to say?
I really like this level. A Newgrounds Extreme Demon by Warren. This level always brings a smile to my face. Apart from one line in the song that I would rather do without, there's really no flaws with this level. It executes its theme really well, and the gameplay is very satisfying to watch and play. The song also perfectly encapsulates Warren's personality before he went a bit off the deep end. Everything here just works really well, and it's the type of Extreme Demon I really like to replay again and again on YouTube. Again, the only flaw I have is that one questionable line of dialogue that's featured in the level. Beyond that, the level is really good. Rob took his sweet time to rate this, but it's better late than never. Auroral Darkness is 3 things. Very dark, very colorful, and very messy. While I like what the level is going for, all the decoration just sort of merges together. There's not a clear enough distinction between the background, block design, and foreground, so it just feels like you're watching a bunch of colors that a kindergartner hastily mixed together and whiz by at the speed of light.
Hey, that's a Geometry Dash reference.
I will destroy this time machine if I hear one more unfunny joke come out of your mouth.
Oh, okay.
I can see why some people may like this level, but I personally think it's subpar.
Package for UR-PAL loops.
Ah, this must be my new flashy glow level that has no value. This will be number 4,567 in my collection. Package for Brian Britdarg.
Oh thanks, this must be my new Sonic Wave remake that clogs up the list. This will be number 3,290 in my collection. I've got a worthless flashy glow level right here. I assume it's for you?
No, I already got my worthless flashy glow level. This must be something else.
Oh, whoops. Looks like I have the wrong address, and by the looks of it, I'm in the wrong country. I should probably fix that, but I'm not gonna. How the fuck did this get rated in 2021? Sure, stuff like Mujige and Silent Club got rated, but those levels were either A, well decorated, or B, significant to the game's history. This is neither.
Stiggy and Machinery is the latest Korean mega co-op to be rated, and, like most others, is quite charming. There's definitely better Korean mega co-ops, but Stygian still holds its own. Unlike Omega Interface, Stygian uses a grey and red color scheme well. The part quality is quite inconsistent, which is to be expected considering the level's ancient age. But no part looks outright awful. While not groundbreaking, Stygian's still a cool and unique level.
Wait, isn't that an addictive drug?
That's Opium Loops. OPSM1 is the third modernistic style Extreme Demon to be rated, after the overrated AQ and the horrible Plus Ultra.
OPSM1 is really forgettable. Modernistic style is a really overdone style and really forgettable unless there's a good theme to it, like say a beach or snowy mountain. OPSM1 is just modernistic designs, and it's also really flashy and unbalanced. It's not terrible, but I really just do not care for it at all.
Well, that's unnecessarily rude.
Just the name of the level, Loops. Don't get your soul in a twist.
I Hate You is a significant improvement from Alrex's previous Extreme Demon. However, being a significant improvement from Radioactive Sludge is not a big achievement. I Hate You is still a C-tier level at best, and that's on a good day. From having some awful gameplay and flashy decoration in some parts, there's a lot I don't like in this level. There's nothing super bad or offensive in this level, it's just not personally for me. Shatter is a cool level. While definitely taking inspiration from Para, I wouldn't call this a direct clone of his style. For one, the song is actually good, though I wish it didn't cut off so suddenly when the level ends. The gameplay here is pretty good, though there's some timings I really wish weren't there. The effects here are also really cool. They're simplistic but still impressive. The level is also nice and easy on the eyes, and there's a pretty relaxing vibe to it as a whole. Probably one of the best levels to come from this Paralution, I guess. And even then, I'd say Shatter has more of its own 2 feet to stand on. Untitled is alright. Originally becoming a viral layout last year, the finished product has some cool designs but is honestly pretty forgettable. My main issue with the level is that your hand does not get any breaks at all. I'm not talking about long transitions from parts. Your hand is almost always clicking the button with this level. There's not even half-second auto pauses to act as a break, which isn't great, especially when playing for long sessions. The song is alright. I don't really care for anime songs, but this one has a nice flow to it. Speaking of flow, this level's layout apparently caused a massive wave of flow gameplay to arise, so I can't wait for that to arrive and become the new creating trend everyone makes slightly worse with each level. Overall, Untitled's fine but really forgettable.
We finally reached the legacy list. This calls for a celebration.
Oh boy, I hope the first level in this is a good level and not an overhyped piece of garbage that people only play because it's easy.
Twisted Tranquility is proof not everything can be saved with an update. It's truly impressive how a level can be updated 15 times and still never be good. It's not even a case of the level's age, it's just always been awful. No other notable traits here, it's just a garbage level. Unearthed is cool. There's a nice balance of build-up and drops, and each drop is significantly more intense than the last, and each build-up is more dramatic than the last. The gameplay is solid all around, though nothing too outstanding, and the decoration is also solid all around. If a tad dated. I much prefer this to Disentombed in every way, which is a shame since the sequel to this could have been awesome. Breakout is a pretty neat level. Nothing crazy or groundbreaking goes on in this level, but the gameplay is pretty cool. The decoration is pretty dated since the level is from 2.0, but the rest of the level here is pretty cool, especially after the long overdue balance and bug fix update. Nothing much else to say here. Solid level overall. Grill Kill is probably Roy Mosty's worst Extreme Demon, though B×20 puts up some serious competition. Grill Kill has really wonky gameplay and no notable designs or artwork beside a couple of black holes. The song is also quite overused in Extreme Demons and the balancing is very poor. Pretty forgettable level in all honesty. The first sequel to Lucid Nightmares that is part of the Nightmares series, KrmaL made 2 series with Ellen as the starting point, being the Lucid series and the Nightmare series. At least, that's how I understand it. Once again, like Lucid Chaos, Concave Memories is significantly more bearable to play, but it's less memorable because of it. Unlike Lucid Chaos, the decoration here is very monochrome and uninteresting, and Knobbel's part is incredibly empty. Some of the duels are very buggy, and the level overall just isn't very captivating, but it's serviceable.
Hey Loops, I'm gonna flashbang you every half second for 75 seconds to simulate watching this level.
But that'll hurt my eyes.
That's the point.
Heatwave is a cool level. Widely considered to be one of the better Dorami verifications, Heatwave is a fast-paced extreme game that tests everything pretty evenly. The decoration is definitely a product of its time, as is what mega collabs looked like before people discovered the glow style that we see so much of today. My friend from Orchestra also said he had 88% on this, but since he never showed a video, I don't really believe him. Sorry man, no vid, no did. Heartbeat is definitely a unique level. A three-way collab by KrmaL, Blisswipe, and Anubis. Heartbeat has a very interesting theme. The whole level just has this vibe to it that's hard to put into words, and it's pretty cool. There's definitely been better KrmaL levels, but Heartbeat is still a solid level in this lineup that shouldn't be overlooked.
We all know Deception Dive. It's bad and its difficulty looks like a heart rate monitor. Moving on. This level is like the opposite of Loops. Funny but awful to be around.
That's a bit,
This is the sole reason we started hating Red Hell levels.
FXD is garbage, just gonna say this off the bat, but it's kind of got its charm. Created by Ozpectra, who is infamous for his incredibly buggy and frustrating gameplay, and verified by Skyjax, FXD is a pretty old level with a pretty well-known wave section in the middle. The decoration is pretty standard 1.9, and the song is pretty good and fits the level well. Well, certainly not good. I can't help but at least appreciate FXD for what it is. A uniquely horrible level with an interesting history behind it. Digital Disarray is a three-way collab between Gairan, Lyson, and Valak that takes at least a little bit of inspiration from an old Heinz level named Cyber Chaos. Digital Disarray is probably Gairan's best level, though I think it stays the same decoration-wise for a bit too long. The last 25% looks really good, and I kinda wish more of the level looked like it, but it's not a big deal. The gameplay is also considered to be very satisfying and fun, and the song is one of F77's best. Overall, a great technology extreme demon that more people should play. Despite what the name would suggest, Necropolix is actually a pretty good and well-made level. It's the best a Necropolis remake can be, which is to say pretty damn good. The level has some pretty good decoration throughout with a pretty cool effect in the 80% area. The level is quite reliant on memory, which is probably its only flaw, but beyond that, there's really no other issues with it. Good job, Namtar, you made a seemingly unplayable level really fun and enjoyable. Retention is alright. It's an old 2.0 level created by Woogie that focuses on duels and memory.
Now, I know that sounds bad, and it is, but Retention also has other stuff going for it. Like, what's the best Woogie level?
From the sound of it, that's not a very high bar to clear.
It's not.
Many people have called Retention fun, which is good, but the learning process is unanimously considered to be brutal. Not much else to say here, it's a decent C- level.
Jolo felt this level represented him, which makes it automatically one of the worst demons in the game, period. Man, people cannot make good gameplay when the song is pure gone, god damn. Hey Loops, want an Insaction cracker?
Nah, I'm good.
Holy fuck, this is bad. A legitimate contender for the worst extreme demon, objectively speaking. Killer Zone is fucking awful. Many timings don't work how they're supposed to, and the decoration is bad. Even for early 2.0. If it wasn't for the song being as good as it is, this level would literally have no value. But as it stands, it's still a dumpster fire of a level. A lot of what I said about Auroral Darkness applies to Artificial Dream, and I bring it up since both are made by Virus. Artificial Dream is more stop-start than Auroral, but both are pretty messy decoration-wise. The gameplay in AD is pretty good but a bit learny, and the bouncing is a tad off, but other than that it's a solid level. I think I slightly prefer Auroral, but both levels are pretty much equal in my mind. This level is beautiful. It's truly a unique experience, and while the gameplay may be unbalanced and the decoration a bit bright, it's still an absolutely gorgeous level. It's another one of those levels like Nelv or Heartbeat that you need to watch for yourself to experience. Hats off to Krone44, man really knocked it out of the park with this one. Red World Rebirth is fine, being a remake of a fairly well-known collab between Sauri and Neptune that is mostly remembered for introducing the Swing Copter game mode. It's alright. It's very slow and boring, and the decoration isn't that great, though it's definitely better than the original. Not much else to say here, very average level all around. Violently X is basically Killer Zone but with a worse song and much better decoration. The gameplay is all over the place and it's incredibly unbalanced and stressful. All of the parts scream early 2.1, but none of them have the charm that those levels often have. While it's better than Killer Zone, it's still pretty bad. Incipient is awesome. Jenkins cannot make a bad level, and this is further proof of that. The design is really unique and holds up pretty well in my opinion. The gameplay is also fast and intense in the second half, but not boring in the first half. The only real problem I have with it is how bad it is to try and do as a hardest. Please do play this level, but not as a hardest. KrmaL is not good. Being the longest extreme demon at nearly 6 minutes long, KrmaL's gameplay feels like it was a travel level that got buffed to extreme demon. The decoration is mostly pretty bland, though some parts look really good like the first 3 parts and the ending. KrmaL is also quite slow for a lot of its runtime, which isn't good in general but especially not for a 6-minute extreme demon. With all that said, it's not a contender for worst extreme demon or even my personal least favorite extreme demons. It's certainly not good, but it's barely passable thanks to the good parts being really good. Exotic energy is pretty forgettable. While I like the effect of the 70 cube, nothing else is really memorable.
Hey, Loops!
What?
I don't like volume because the song is bad and it's incredibly unbalanced.
Okay.
It's literally harder Acropolis. What more do you want me to say?
Dude, this is the 3rd time that you used that joke in this video. You are turning into Family Guy.
The time machine needs 3 of the same joke in order to act as the unfunny processor. Don't ask me why I designed it like that, I just did.
Ew. Ew. Tech Manifestation sucks, it's really unoptimized and has awful gameplay. Cyclone is awesome. A super fast-paced and intense mega color by Binox, Cyclone is really cool. Aside from Jenkins' part being a lot harder than everything else, everything here is really cool and works well with each other to create a high-octane experience. The decoration is good, but not flashy surprisingly, and the gameplay is considered to be really fun and enjoyable. The song is also great as well. Binox and the team really wanted to make a level that feels like a tornado, and they definitely succeeded. The Lost Existence is a pretty good level with some big flaws. I actually think the cloud section to the end is a really solid and well-made part, and it's impressive throughout what Jonathan was able to do within the game's 40k object limit. I also like the boss fight in the Deadlock section, as it feels like what a modernized Deadlock would look like. My praises can't extend much further, however. The first half is really bad, with a severe lack of playtesting apparent at the build-up. The level is also one of the longest extreme demons at 5.5 minutes long, and it's quite slow throughout, which, while that may add to the atmosphere, is a recipe for stress and boredom. I want to like this level, I really do, and there's parts I really do like, but I can't look past the big flaws this level unfortunately has. It's ultrasonic but sand, so it's automatically one of the funniest extremes.
But is it any good?
Somehow, yes.
If there's 3 things the Polish are known for, it's vodka, video games, and this specific timing. This used to be one of my favorite extreme demons, but I now see it has a lot of problems. The one thing that hasn't changed is my love of the song. Both the remix and the original are great. Everything else here is pretty bad though. The decoration isn't great except for Jonathan's part, and the gameplay is pretty awful. Not much else to say here, so let's move on. Zettabyte is further proof that Jenkins cannot make a bad level. An excellent tech-themed extreme demon. Zettabyte has a lot of cool and unique ideas that are executed well. The gameplay is also really good, possibly even better than Incipient's, and all around this is just a good-ass level. Good job, Jenkins, can't wait to see more great levels from you in the future. Skytech feels like digital disarray if it had an acne outbreak right before a school photo. It's significantly messy in both gameplay and decoration, but it's still a pretty good level. This, along with Team Z, which shares its song with Skytech, both got turned into free levels for a day, at different times, then eventually reverted back. I unfortunately was dumb enough to beat Skytech when it was free, so I have it marked as a completed extreme, sadly.
Uprise is woogie on crack.
But it's easier than most Libertas and Retention?
It's worse than both of them.
Uprise makes no sense. It's so easy until you get to the waves, at which it randomly becomes a mainless level, then it reverts back to being an insane demon. The decoration and the song are both which means there's really nothing good going for this level. Awakening Horus is an interesting level. Created by Juhu with boss art by Zintik, AH has a great design and pretty unique color scheme. It's probably the only extreme to have a completely gold color scheme, which is pretty cool. The gameplay is pretty weird. I don't like how any of the duels flow, but most of the non-duel parts seem pretty cool. I wouldn't personally want to try this because of how janky the duels seem, but it's an alright level nonetheless. I'm not a huge fan of Allegiance. The effects have held up pretty well, but all the gameplay from the drop to 100 just looks like a pain in the ass to learn. It's miles better than Relevant, but that's not saying much. Night Party is weird. It features a lot of recognizable creators like Funny Game, Darwin, Bionox, and Knobbelboy, and the whole idea of the level was to be a send-off for Arlo, the level's host and verifier. One thing you'll notice right away is how the part cohesion is basically non-existent, which is pretty interesting. All the creators got to make their own styles without a theme, which isn't something you see a lot of in modern Extreme Demons. The gameplay is quite unbalanced, with Darwin's wave being a lot harder than anything else, but overall Night Party is a pretty solid level.
Webster's Dictionary defines a hernia as, quote, a protrusion of an organal part, such as the intestine, through connective tissue or through a wall of the cavity, as of the abdomen, in which it is normally enclosed, end quote. Synonyms for hernia include a rupture, a fracture, and instant execution.
Hypersonic is a pretty cool level. The first 2.1 entry in the Sonic series, which started with the god-awful Supersonic and the alright Ultrasonic in 1.9. Viper then decided to revive the series with Hypersonic. This and Subsonic both stirred up a lot of dumb criticism, but I think the fact that the song choice for Hypersonic doesn't feel fast enough for a Sonic series is justifiable. 10,000, while fast, isn't the level of fast you would ideally want in a Sonic level, especially one named Hypersonic. Beyond that, my only real issue is how hard Etzer and Terron are, considering they are at the end of the level. Oh, and Vibrant's Ball Maze. I fucking hate that there's one of these in all 4 Sonic levels. I hate it. Cataclysm is a good level. The first wave is a lot harder than everything else, but that's about all the issues I have with it. We all know Cataclysm, we all respect Cataclysm, so let's move on. Cosmo Rush 21 is like Just Cause 1. Both look like complete ass, but are actually really fun. Cosmo Rush is very well synced, as you would expect from a Penata level. The song is alright, it's not one of Rex's better songs. It's a surprisingly good level once you look past the super dated decoration. Falling Up is one of KrmaL's best levels. You're constantly getting higher and higher as the level goes on, going through a city, rainy skies, clouds, and ending with the player getting launched into space. It's a really cool and unique idea that has been copied many times but never executed as well as it is here. The gameplay is a bit iffy, especially with the last duel because, well, look at it. Overall though, Falling Up is a great Extreme Demon and a great level in general.
I sure hope Falling Up doesn't revert back to Insane Demon when I go to upload this video.
Hey, it just reverted.
Son of a bitch. It's Ado but harder and I don't like Ado.
Penumbra exists. Dark Rivalry also exists, but it exists worse, if that makes sense.
It doesn't.
Don't care.
Electrosonic is pretty charming. The parts are split between early 2.1 and Laser Blitz styles, and it's all pretty charming. The gameplay isn't that great, but the song is really good. All in all, just an average level. Poorly decorated rainbow level with cool gameplay and unique song.
Dude, that wasn't even a sentence.
I'm pressed for time, I had to cut down one sentence.
The ultimate phase is bad. The gameplay is incredibly wonky and unforgiving, and the decoration is bad by 1.9 standards, let alone modern day standards. The song is alright, the part used in penultimate phase is a lot better, but this part is still decent. If it wasn't one of the first Extreme Demons ever, people probably would not care about this level at all, but alas. The first ever rated Extreme Demon. It's terrible, but hey, it was important to the game's difficulty progress, so that's nice.
How has this not been demoted to Insane Demon? It's really easy.
Oh, then I should try it.
It's easy for an Extreme Demon.
Oh.
If the Apocalyptic Trilogy was RGB, Doomsday would be Y. Doomsday is probably objectively the worst Extreme Demon in the game, now that Infinite V Circles 2 got demoted to Insane Demon. Doomsday looks like ass, plays like a game of soccer but the ball is a bowling ball painted to look like a soccer ball, and the song is Atso. The whole level is a complete joke and no one should play it unironically.
Well, would you look at that? The time machine is powered up.
Cool. Activate it.
Nah.
What? Why not, dude?
If I push this button, I'll set a series of events into motion that will not allow me to do other things. And I want to do some of those side quests, man.
Oh, come on.
I love saltine crackers. They're nice and comforting, and I always know what to expect when I eat them. One could describe my tastes as generic, and you'd be absolutely right. However, saltine crackers have changed quite a bit over the years, so today I thought it'd be a good idea to take a look back at the history of the saltine cracker.
Wrong channel, buddy. This isn't for the food channel.
Oh. Well, I guess I can rework this into a video about generic Geometry Dash levels.
Geometry Dash is a funny game. Out of the millions of levels on the servers, only a couple hundred are actually cared about, and even fewer are well made. That begs the question, what makes up the other part of levels on the servers?
About 15 levels cloned into 15 million different levels.
A lot of Geometry Dash is fluff, or forgettable levels that look exactly like 100 others. This idea of generic has changed quite a lot over the years, so let's travel all the way back and watch it grow and evolve. Ah yes. The wonderful year of 2013. The LEGO Republic gunship sold for only $120 instead of the $700 it goes for today. Iron Man 3 had just released, becoming the second Marvel movie to gross $1 billion after 2012's The Avengers, and Thor the Dark World also released apparently. 2013 was also the year that Geometry Dash was thrust into existence, with only 7 main levels and no demon rating. As you can imagine, there wasn't a lot to work with back then. The only available game modes were Cube and Ship, and there were only yellow pads and yellow orbs. Gravity portals were the only other gameplay modifier, and there were only 2 different types of blocks and 1 piece of decoration. You could change the color of the background, but that was the only practical trigger back then. I say practical in terms of making an actual level, since I'm not sure when the start position trigger was added, and I don't want to get something wrong. Because of the severe limitations of what could be done, most levels during this time and for the next few updates would all look very similar to one another. Custom songs also weren't a thing back then, so all levels used one of 7 songs, so everything started to blend together. While 1.1 would introduce the reverse portals and 1.2 the ball game mode, levels still didn't really change much. Sure, they had 2 new gameplay modifiers to play around with, but really, levels just would not change that much. Then came Update 1.3. This update introduced the famous demon difficulty we all know and love, which was probably inspired by the, for the time, insanely difficult level Demon Park by M2 Cole. Back then there was only one all-encompassing demon difficulty, and the different rankings of demons would come several years later in 2.1. Despite there being a new difficulty, difficult levels were really frowned upon. Keep in mind that the community was nowhere near the size it is today, and Geometry Dash was mostly known as a rage game popular YouTubers played for 3 videos and then never touched again. 1.3 was the first update to introduce a new type of block, being these weird platform thingies, as well as a blue bounce pad and orb, which switched the player's gravity. These was probably the first big advancement in gameplay, as levels started to feel at least a little bit different from their 1.0 counterparts, especially considering there was new air decoration as well, being these stars that pulse with the music. Still, these were baby steps compared to what would come in the future. On December 26, 2013, Update 1.4 released. This was a bigger advancement than 1.3 was, as it introduced the size portals, which drastically affected the player's physics, as well as a lot of saw blades and decoration to go along with them, but it still wasn't a massive advancement. This would be the last small advancement for the game, because the levels still felt similar enough to what had come before in the months prior. Aside from Majako, no one really knew how to make art using what the game gave them, and so all the levels felt pretty similar. That would start to change, however, with the introduction of the UFO game mode in Update 1.5. The introduction of the UFO game mode sparked the game's first creating trend, the Flappy Bird levels. These levels were always monotonous and copy-pasted garbage that recreated the infamous mobile game. The copy and paste mechanic was introduced in this update, which definitely helped the rise of the Flappy Bird trend. At this point, levels had progressed to a point where there was now a very clear and distinct difference between what was made in 1.0 and what was made quote-unquote now. Levels still weren't that hard, and relied a lot on memory and confusing design to be difficult. The community was definitely still a hell of a lot smaller, and there wasn't enough of a range of quality between the best levels and the worst levels, which meant most levels still felt very similar to each other. This is a trend we didn't see truly broken until mid 2.1, but it did start to break apart in 1.9, but we'll get to that. For now, we have one of the most influential updates to talk about, 1.6. 1.6 introduced the world to Clubstep, which is the most influential main wrapped-up level by a marathon. Clubstep inspired so many levels, from Clubstep V2 to Silent Club to Ice Carbon Diablo X. 1.6 saw the birth of many a hard level that more often than not was inspired from Clubstep, which is interesting since the community was still pretty bad at the game at this point. From here we get our second form of a generic creating trend, being the hard Clubstep inspired level. This is a trend we wouldn't really ever see die, though it would become a lot rarer and less prominent the longer time went on, which is quite unlike the Flappy Bird trend, which died almost immediately after 1.9 ended. While 1.6 may have been incredibly influential in the field of gameplay, 1.7 would completely shake up the field of decoration. Levels went from looking like this to looking like this. This is the biggest shift in decoration so far, and with the new speed changes, levels were really starting to spread their wings and become something new and unique, and this sentiment would continue in the following updates. Update 1.8 was significantly less influential than the updates around it, but it still introduced the dual game mode as well as a lot of new blocks and slopes for the first time, which allowed people to get real wild and crazy and create levels that definitely wouldn't break when the physics got updated. Since the community was still pretty bad at the game, the dual game mode was not nearly as utilized as it is today, and asymmetrical duels, let alone duels with two different game modes, were few and far between. Following 1.8, update 1.9 released, who could have guessed, and it would be the biggest and most influential update yet. For the first time, people could use custom songs from Newgrounds, which allowed people to be a lot more creative. People other than Majaka would actually start making theme levels, with little art pieces scattered throughout. 1.9 also introduced the Wave game mode, which has become the community's favorite game mode, and has been utilized as the main game mode in countless levels. People like Funny Game also started to push what was possible in the game with levels like Revolution. 1.9 was also the update that introduced the 9 circles trend, which became arguably the largest creating trend in the game, surprisingly enough, since most of the first 50 or so levels were just the base 9 circles effect with a different color scheme. Mega Co-ops also became a lot more prominent in 1.9, with levels like Supersonic and Bloodbath becoming front and center. The community also started to care a lot more about difficulty in this update, though we wouldn't see the explosion of hard levels until 2.0. The community also swelled to massive numbers never seen before, which meant a lot more levels were being released and rated. However, people were still pretty limited in what they were able to do with the editor. While it was still pretty obvious what a 1.9 level looked like, there wasn't this massive spectrum of what was possible to do. That would change in 2.0 though. 2.0 was the new biggest update the game had seen, and still is probably the biggest update in terms of new creating features added. It introduced an entire new mechanic, being the triggers, and levels could now reach new heights they never could before. Things could move, become invisible, pulse, and be unlocked by keys. However, it's pretty safe to say people didn't really know how to utilize these new features. Early 2.0 levels are often considered to be the worst levels in the game, since people overused the teleportation and movement aspects and created really unfun and not sight-readable levels. People also didn't know how to use the new monsters well, which led to a lot of boss fight levels featuring this chompy-looking ass. It wasn't until Funny Game's Serious that people realized, oh yeah, we can use stuff other than Vector the Crocodile for boss fights. However, people went from overusing one type of boss to another with whatever the hell this guy is. The two-hand laser gun plus the angry thing in the middle was used for many boss fights, even into 2.1 with levels like Factory Realm X and Team Z. This style of boss fight was pretty common in Laser Blitz's levels, which had an incredibly unique and interesting style. This was another trend that came from 2.0, and is being continued to this day with modern interpretations from creators like Hell Pegasus and Parallax. However, neither of these trends can hold a candle to the main trend 2.0 is known for creating. These levels were the first levels to be called generic. These levels proved that pumping out the same thing 15 times with a different song was a surefire way to get a rated level. These levels had no real, all-defining name. Until now. These levels are the manufactured levels. These levels were pumped out at absurd rates, with barely any gameplay changes and the most basic decoration needed to get a star rate. These levels took over the servers in about mid 2.0, and their stranglehold on the featured section can still be felt today, even if the style has changed. Creators like Danolex and Ariel would pump out these levels at insane rates, and they would receive a featured rating almost instantly. These levels were never harder than 7 stars most of the time, and most were 4 to 5 stars. This period would continue for the rest of 2.0 and into 2.1, and create hundreds of nearly identical levels that were all rated and featured. As you can probably imagine, this is where people started getting mad at the existence of this trend, and started calling out creators behind this. This wouldn't slow down the avalanche of these levels, however, and it would take until 2018 for this style of empty decoration to fade out. However, by then, there's already a replacement for this style. The modernistic style. Popularization of the style most likely came from Optical, a great and talented creator that created good and unique levels. Modernistic style would replace the empty decoration of the manufactured levels, but that doesn't necessarily mean that all the modernistic levels were created with unique thought and care behind them. In fact, the modernistic style was potentially even more widespread than the empty Ariel style of 2.0. This style is still going strong in 2021 with extreme demons like OPSM1 and I Hate You using a variant of the modernistic style that isn't too far off of Optical's original design. I personally don't see the modernistic style going away until 2.2, and even that's not a guarantee. Another style that started to become very widespread is the glow style. There are countless examples of this, including levels like the Golden, Disentombed, and Virtual Collapse. These levels have, as you guess, a very high reliance on glow. These levels are often dark and incredibly similar to one another, with the only way to tell them apart being the color of the glow. And even that's not a guarantee, since purple, blue, and green are incredibly common colors to see in this scheme. This is another trend that probably won't go away until 2.2, but this one has even more of a chance to continue out through a decent chunk of 2.2. Recently, the newest creating trend seems to be flashy effect levels inspired by Para. Cold Sweat and Nightlife were both very popular levels, and many people want to try and replicate them in hopes they could reach the same levels of fame. This has resulted in a lot of very flashy levels, which is something I really despise since I have very sensitive eyes. All these levels also just feel the same as one another, though I don't think this trend will last nearly as long as, say, the modernistic or glow style.
So that was the history of saltine crackers.
Generic geometry dash
levels. There may have been other smaller creating trends, like with Lonely Travel, but the levels that spawned from that eventually branched off and did their own thing and became their own subgenre of levels. While all the trends I mentioned aren't great and haven't produced great levels, I still think they play an important role in Geometry Dash, as they help the big masterpieces that people care about stand out that much more. It's like the old saying, if everyone's special, then no one's special. I've figured it out. I've done everything else I wanted to do, and now it is time to put this plan into action. We have 2 main goals: to save Loops' life, and to convince my past self to make parts 3 through 5.
Why is that a secondary goal?
I want YouTube views.
Fair. You know, they are the most valuable form of currency, as we all know.
Yes. Anyways, back to the plan. So all previous explanations for time travel sucked, so I'm making a new one. Basically, there is a single timeline that can be altered a decent bit before a different conclusion is reached. This gives us a margin of error. However, that margin is pretty damn small, so we have to be incredibly careful with what we do.
Wait, so I can't go to Target after the operation and get myself a mug?
No.
Ah, man, that's the whole reason I wanted to go on this journey.
You like being alive?
Yeah.
You're coming with me.
Fine.
Anyways, we will have only one shot at this.
You know, remind me again why it's one use?
I had to raise the stakes somehow.
That is a very valid response.
Yes, anyways, the time machine will take us 30 seconds before an unfortunate scoliosis outbreak.
Question?
Yes?
Okay, so a heart attack in the liver is called a scoliosis outbreak, and the operation to fix it is an athlete's foot surgery?
That is indeed correct.
Where do you learn all this?
Wikipedia. Anyways, when we arrive, you're going to have to shoot past me with this brightly colored tranquilizer gun, so past me does not screw this up.
Why not just tell him to stay put?
Trust me, 14-year-old Britdargs do not do staying put well.
There's multiple Britdargs?
Yes, and anyways, after you've shot me, we're going to use this bottle of pills to stabilize past loops. It's definitely a bottle of pills, not a bag of M&Ms I'm going to eat when I finish explaining this to you. After that, we will have to go through the multi-step surgery needed to cure a scoliosis outbreak, which, comedically enough, each step is named after an extreme demon I have not talked about yet.
So it all goes back to extreme demons.
Yes, extreme demons are like the Eternals.
What are the Eternals?
I have absolutely no idea. I just thought that was a cool thing to say.
Are there any more things that need to be done once we complete the operation?
Past loops gets a cookie.
Oh, do I get one as well?
Now, screw you. That concludes the briefing. Any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. Why don't I get a cookie?
Are you having a heart attack in your liver?
No.
Then you don't get a cookie. Simple as that. Alright, we are ready to go back in time and save your life. Do we need any refreshers on the plan?
No, the video was just last week.
Okay, let's check. We have everything we need. Protective time travel suits.
Check.
3 tranquilizer guns, despite the fact we only needed 1.
Check.
Bottle of pills, that's definitely a bottle of pills, not a bag of M&Ms.
Check.
Instructions about how to perform an athlete's foot surgery.
Check.
All the other stuff.
Check.
I believe we're ready to go. Are you ready, Loops?
Yeah, I'm a bit nervous though.
What's there to be nervous about? Other than the fact that if we fail, we will never get another shot at this.
Yeah, you're right. There's nothing to be nervous about.
Okay, I'm gonna push the button. If there's anything else you want to do now, do it now.
Okay, I think I'm ready.
Okay, I'm gonna push the button.
Wait! I forgot.
Okay, I'm gonna push the button now. Alright, I think we're good. Son of a bitch.
What is it?
We don't have enough extreme demon energy to get back.
Well, that's a little bit of a problem, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, wait. The step-by-step surgery has a list of extreme demons. All the steps are extreme demons I have not talked about, so we can use that to get back home.
Awesome! Help, I'm having a heart attack in my liver.
We gotta go. Quick, get the bottle of pills that is done.
I know what you mean.
Okay, he's stable. We need to start with the pre-work, which is basically all the levels that need to be placed on point to crate. First up is moment.
What kind of moment?
Huh?
Like an eternal moment? A bro moment? What kind of moment?
I have no clue.
Moment is a weird level. I wouldn't call it great, as a lot of the parts are very empty and a lot of the block design is practically non-existent. But it does have some cool effects and interesting gameplay. The song is also very interesting. It fits the level well, but again, I wouldn't call it good. Moment is a pretty unique level, even if it isn't that good, and that's something to be commemorated for in this day and age.
Step 2, Frozen Cave.
What does that mean?
Read the instructions, bub.
This level is really cool. The gameplay is really hard and really unique, and I like it for that. The decoration is also really nice and well themed. There isn't a single part that feels like it doesn't belong. The ice and snow theme is done here in a way that makes it feel unique, and overall the level executes its theme well.
Okay, step 3. Apply a dose of Ocular Miracle. Crap, what is it?
I have adrenaline. Will that work?
Oh yes, it's the perfect Ocular Miracle substitute. Okay, step 4. Check to see if the patient has a rash!
No, he does not.
That gives me time to talk about rash!
Rash is a really unique level.
Wow, it seems like everything on this list is a cool and unique level.
Shut up, I'm talking about rash!
Rash is an extreme demon themed around flesh and decay, and executes this really well. The gameplay is also really cool and unique, and takes notes from KrmaL and Para. The level manages to accomplish all this while staying below the 80k object limit, which is really cool. Go give Rash a shot, it's a really cool and unique level.
Okay, we checked for a rash! Now time to apply a Sonic Wave remake. Ready? Clear! Okay, now we need to apply ice to the head for some reason.
Should the ice be warm or frozen?
It says preferably frozen, but it really doesn't matter.
Wait, didn't we just do something that involved something being frozen? Wasn't it like a cave or a cavern or a catacomb?
One of the key things to do when dealing with a scoliosis outbreak is making sure the patient is cold.
Couldn't we just throw myself into a freezer?
No. Start applying the ice. I need to talk about this level.
The best way to describe frozen is shatter if it was cold.
That's it?
Yeah, why have you not applied the ice yet?
I just thought it would take a little longer.
What more am I supposed to say?
You know, fair.
Well, have you applied the ice?
Not yet.
Well, how long would it take you to apply the ice?
Well, 5 hours? I'm rather ice phobic.
Give me the ice then.
Fine, it's not like I was gonna do it anyway.
Okay, we applied the ice. Recipe calls for a one-winged angel.
Recipe?
Oh wait, that's the cookie recipe. I don't know why that's in the middle of the operation instructions, but regardless, we still need a one-winged angel.
I got a one-winged ankle for ya.
That'll do.
Sephiroth is another cool Korean mega collab. This one has one foreign member in it, being Isane, and the level is pretty damn cool. There are some bad transitions and some unbalanced waves, but the level looks good and has a cool vibe to it overall. It took a decent bit to get rated, but in the end, it was definitely worth it.
Okay, we need a Laser Blitz style level now.
Wait, why? Sephiroth is the last level that needed to be placed on Pointer Crate.
Well, Hydraulic Overdrive, an old legacy level, got re-rated recently, and coincidentally enough, the medical folks at Big Medicine decided to add another step of the same name to an athlete's foot surgery.
But could you in theory just use any Laser Blitz style level?
Yes.
There's nothing about Hydraulic Overdrive that makes it any different from any other Laser Blitz style level?
It hurts my eyes.
Ah, epilepsy is a good cure for scoliosis.
Okay, we're done with the pre-work. We can move into the actual operation now.
What was the pre-work for then?
Think of it like anesthesia. You don't just up and stab a pregnant woman giving her a C-section.
Don't?
Yeah, why?
Nothing. What's the next step?
Okay, so we have to want me.
What?
I don't know, ask Power. He made the thing.
Want Me is interesting. The gameplay is quite unique, as the whole concept of the level was a level without spikes or saws, and I'd say it came out pretty well. Some parts look way harder than everything else, including the last wave and a few ship parts, but overall it's solid. The decoration is pretty cool and simplistic, though it's a bit too empty for my liking. The song fits the level well, but I wouldn't call it good. Want Me is another solid entry in Power's lineup, and it's definitely unique.
Okay, we need a flashy glow level.
Reverence? I remember you said to pack a bunch of these.
Yes, they're very useful at fixing a scoliosis outbreak.
Wait, hang on, this has a little bit more information on it. It says it has godlike sync.
That does not matter. It's still a flashy glow level. Anyways, we then need 2 servings of malware.
Malware 2 fucking sucks, I hate it, and Lex should never be allowed to make gameplay.
Aha, I was ready this time.
That's not saying much. Malware makes up more of what we breathe than oxygen.
That sounds dangerous, but since you said it, I feel safe.
Okay, next we need a glow level.
Ooh, a flashy glow level?
No, just a glow level.
Oh, I got Thorny Path. Will that work?
Oh, that's perfect. You're good at this.
Well, I carry a lot of useless garbage around with me, so, I'm used to it.
Huh.
Oh, is the next step also related to generic useless garbage?
Huh. What? No, it's related to Japanese animation.
I have no idea what that is!
Overlord is pretty cool. Based on the anime of the same name, Overlord has some great art pieces throughout, though I do kind of wish it was more than just characters from the show and pretty plain backgrounds.
I say that like I have any idea what Overlord is.
Then what is it?
I don't know.
The gameplay in Overlord is a lot of deceptive duels, where they look very hard when watching, but a closer look reveals they are actually simpler and easier than you thought. The song is also really cool. It's the Ragnarok song. More people should play this level, even on lower detail mode, as it's really cool and unknown.
Ooh, Misty Mountains, I like this level.
Is that the next step?
Oh, I just like this level.
Misty Mountains is amazing. It's probably my new second favorite Extreme Demon. It is so atmospheric, and everything from the song to the gameplay to the decoration all help to make this atmosphere as good as it is. I will say, the one part I don't like is the random 1.0 part, as it breaks the immersion, and while the immersion does recover shortly afterwards, it's still annoying. Everything else here is basically perfect, though. It's such an atmospheric journey, and I love it for that.
Okay, now that you're done gushing over Misty Mountains, can we go back and Save My Life?
Oh, right. Next thing we have to do is sing a Lumineers song.
Wait, what?
Oh, wait, the song is called Ophelia. We actually need to do whatever the hell an Amorphia is.
Amorphia is weird. It's certainly not a bad level. It just feels unoriginal. The 1.0 effect style trend was a short-lived trend that died out fast, and to have this come out close to a year after the trend died feels late and wrong. The effects are good, and holy shit, that boss fight is amazing, but it just doesn't feel like the groundbreaking masterpiece it should be. The gameplay is also abysmal, which isn't fun, but I mean, look at it. Amorphia is fine. If it came out 1 year earlier than it did, it would have been much more impactful than it was.
Throw a tantrum? What?
I want the blue intestines, not the pink ones!
No, we are in a public place and you are embarrassing me!
Tantrum is bad.
Okay, now that that's over with, let's see what's next. Cause Armageddon.
Blood for the blood god!
Oops, no! I hate you.
Armageddon is really cool. A reimagining of Cataclysm with a 2.1 spin on it, Armageddon came out really well. My only complaint is that I wish some of the parts had more of a background, since it feels pretty empty a lot of the time. Beyond that, however, the level is vibrant and lively, with some great neon designs. The gameplay is also really cool. It does genuinely feel like a 2.1 Cataclysm. Armageddon is a really cool level, and Proof Manix can really make good levels when he puts his mind to it.
Okay, now that we put the world back together, we have to use the Mandragora plant and apply it to the place of contact.
I wanted to turn into a plant.
No, you will get your chance when Plants vs. Zombies gets brought up.
Oh, goody.
Mandragora is good in some ways, but bad in others. The part cohesion and theme is basically non-existent, with each part being an entire new journey. While most parts are good art pieces, there are some real stinkers in here. The gameplay does not look fun at all. There's way too many duels which pair the wave with another game mode, and those duels are very hard to pull off, and it's not done well here. The song is pretty good, but not amazing. Mandragora is a bit like putting M&M's, Sour Skittles, and Reese's Pieces in the same container. You never know what's coming next, and sometimes it's awful, but it's definitely a memorable experience.
Okay, so the next thing we have to do is inject Evangelion into the spleen.
What, is that some kind of drug?
No, it's some Japanese animation.
I don't know what that is!
Jeez, okay, man. I'll apply. You can do the next step, though. We need another generic glow level.
So, virtual collabs do?
That's the definition of a generic glow level, dude.
So no?
No, you apply it.
But your tone implied I was wrong.
Oh, right. I forgot you had your sarcasm gland removed before we got here.
Alright, I applied it. What's next?
Mecha Mayhem. Crap, I think I forgot that.
Okay, I got a trash can full of old tissues and moldy bread. Will that do?
That is a perfect replacement, Loops. You are too resourceful.
I like trash.
Why don't you get married to it?
You know, that is an excellent idea.
Sure.
Thunder Alphabet is fine, the duels are good, but nothing else is.
Where did Thunder Alphabet come from?
That was the next step. Did you not hear me?
Oh, I'm deaf.
Oh.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Oh, okay. Well, the next step calls for a half-Korean mega collab.
Oh, I got one right here.
Oh, thank you. You know, Fincore is the most basic name you could have chosen for a half-Finnish, half-Korean mega collab.
Yeah, I agree.
Fincore is very unbalanced and has some bad-looking parts, but it's still pretty good.
Okay, we gotta apply another glow level. Gotta do this a lot. What do you have?
Hydratic.
Okay, great. Get applying. I've got quite the lengthy thing to do with Finger Dash V3.
Finger Dash V3 is a level that would have been absolutely amazing had it come out 4 years ago. However, it being released in 2020 just makes it feel dated. The gameplay here feels like if Devon and Laserblitz collaborated to make Finger Dash, and it's not that great. The level looks quite dated, which makes sense considering it took 3 years to finish and release, and that's especially apparent considering the design of the boss. The level is just way too learny for what I would think a Finger Dash remake should be. Deadlocked V3 worked because Deadlocked itself required a decent amount of learning and memorization, and so expanding on that felt logical and like Deadlocked. Finger Dash isn't that learny by comparison, so having the same type of gameplay here just feels wrong. I am glad this level finally came out after all these years, but it is a bit disappointing with some of the choices Noriega made.
Oh crap, you've lost a lot of blood.
Oh, thank you. I've been diving usually. You know, there's this new...
No, you idiot! Your past self is losing a lot of blood. We need something with 500,000 objects or more to plug it up.
Say no more.
Zenith is not great. The gameplay takes a big backseat for the decoration, and the decoration doesn't even look that good most of the time because it's core and it looks like something out of an AP team level. This level could maybe possibly be slightly cool if you didn't need a NASA PC to run it, and that's about all I have to say for that.
Okay, You've been patched up. Now we need a character from Borderlands 2.
Torg is cool but doesn't resemble a Heinz level at all, and apparently that's what the original intent was, so congratulations, you failed.
Okay, next up, I'm getting into the groove with this.
Next step requires another bit of Japanese animation. I don't know what that is!
Plus Ultra is a garbage level themed around a garbage anime named My Hero Academia.
What is that?
It's basically X-Men if Japan made it and it was bad.
Thank you. Now we know that all Japanese animations are bad.
That's not what I meant, but we will deal with your irrational hatred of Japanese animation later. Right now, I need to talk about why Plus Ultra is dog shit.
The gameplay in Plus Ultra is atrocious, and is the most unfun flow gameplay ever made. The level is also themed around MHA, but a casual internet user who has only ever heard of the show and seen a couple characters wouldn't know that because the level looks like a core/modernistic mega collab. The one character they decided to put in the level was the fucking sex offender creep character. No joke. The one thing I do like about this level is the song, which I guess makes me a My Hero Academia fan. Don't worry, I'll lock myself up.
We still have a video to record.
Oh yeah, I guess I'll lock myself up later.
Plus Ultra is a stupid level and no one should ever play it.
Okay, next we need to cause a hurricane. Loops, do not cause a hurricane. Son of a bitch, you caused a hurricane.
Hurricane is the sequel to Cyclone, and I have to say it's a very good level. Whereas Cyclone recreated a feeling of a cyclone, Hurricane recreates the feeling of, you guessed it, a hurricane.
I'm gonna guess it recreated the feeling of the rack in Saw 3.
Loops, after this, we're taking you to a therapist doctor 2-in-1.
Hurricane structuring is fast beginning, slow middle, and fast ending. It's a style not often explored in levels in general, let alone Extreme Demons. The decoration here is vibrant and colourful, and, aside from the very last part, isn't hard on the eyes. The part quality is a little inconsistent, but still, Hurricane is a great and unique level from a talented Mega Collab host.
Now we need to blow something up.
Oh, is the level explosion?
No, it's firepower.
Wouldn't it make more sense for the instruction to be labeled explosion?
Look, I did not write this, so stop blaming me for other people's mistakes.
Firepower is awful. If you need to put the word effects in your level to tell people that your level has effects, you need to reconsider your choices in the game.
Okay, so funnily enough, the next step is the explosion step.
I have the Tannerite ready, just tell me when.
Actually, we won't need to do that. All we have to do is copy and paste a KrmaL level and cut it in half.
Oh, so that's all explosion is?
Yeah, it's just lit fuse again, but half the length and with a 20-second straight fly in the middle for no reason.
Sounds kinda lazy.
Yeah, it is. Anyways, now we need a glow level, but it has to have some random Terraria monsters in it.
Botanic Paradise?
Britdarg Paradise.
Oh, yeah, by the way, I got us another direct clone of a KrmaL level.
Oh cool, what is it?
Bye.
Oh, see you later then.
No, the level is called Bye. It's a remake of Hi.
Hello there, how are ya?
Let's just move on then.
I didn't know gangs existed in the medical field.
Oh, yeah, there's tons of them, but the two main medical gangs are The Gang and Bang Gang.
Hey, didn't The Gang verify a 2-player Extreme Demon called Bang Gang?
They did.
Too bad Dansman made it, otherwise it could have actually been good.
Yep, you heard me. Bang Gang sucks, even though the boss fight is cool. Dansman levels really started to go downhill in 2019, and that downward trend has not stopped since.
Okay, I'd say we're about halfway done with the operation. How's past loops looking? We might want to pick up the pace.
Okay, what's the next step?
Thank you.
Bless you, but what's the next step?
Thank you.
Bless you again, but what's the next step?
Thank you.
Alright, no, screw you. You don't get a bless you until you tell me what the next step is.
ACU is very overrated. I still think it's a solid level, but it is not one of the best Extreme Demons. The modernistic style is executed well here, but that does not mean for a second that this level is amazing. There's some cool effects, and the brightness of the level can be lowered thankfully, but nothing else here really stands out. The gameplay seems really awkward and unfun, though many people have called it fun, so I don't really know. The song is also really bad. It's so boring and unenjoyable to listen to.
Okay, we need another dose of ocular miracle, but we couldn't find one earlier.
No, I got it right here. It's split into 3 parts, though.
Okay, start injecting those through the Achilles tendon.
Scoliosis outbreaks really do affect the entire body, huh?
Yeah, it's one of the most complicated operations ever.
It's like there's 800,000 moving parts to it. All that helped to better the operation.
Ocular Miracle is my favorite Extreme Demon in the game, and it isn't even technically rated. Ocular Miracle is a magical journey, even while just watching it. It's so atmospheric, and Unlike Misty Mountains, there isn't a single moment where that immersion is broken. The gameplay is structured in a way where most of the harder parts come before the first drop, which means when you get far, you get far. The decoration is also surprisingly really good throughout. KrmaL is the only level that does core well, and it does it really well. The song is also one of the best ever used in Geometry Dash, and I don't think that's arguable. I personally think if you're going to play KrmaL, you should play the entire level. The 3 individual levels are worse than the full level in my opinion, because the bouncing starts to shift and they're also a decent bit off sync, but they're still great. Go play KrmaL, it truly is one of the best levels in the game.
Miracle sounds amazing.
Is.
Wow.
Here's the next step that I don't know how to pronounce, so I'm not gonna try.
This level isn't good. It looks good for the time, especially considering this was Jakku's first level, but the gameplay is just so bad. It's a confusing hodgepodge of duels and memory, and none of it makes sense or seems fun. It's not the worst thing ever, but it's definitely not good.
Okay, now I need to perform a ritual. Say these words.
This isn't even English.
Just start singing.
Mia the Burning Fire?
Gunslinger Corridor is fine. I don't think it's good, nor do I think it's bad. Roblox's part is a lot harder than anything else, which really tilts the bouncing in a poor direction. The decoration is fine throughout. It's a little below modern standards, but not that much. I actually do like the song, but I do agree some of the lyrics are a bit ridiculous. Gunslinger was really overhyped and got a lot of unnecessary flack because of it. I don't think any of it was valid, but I also don't think this level is good.
Do you have a sword?
No, but I do have this halberd.
I mean, I guess that will work. It's a sharp object and it says we need to make a large incision on the abdomen.
Halberd would be really cool if I didn't get assaulted by epilepsy midway throughout. I don't understand why Notzla added these. They aren't related to Kirby in any way and just bring the level down 2 whole tiers. The decoration here is really good and a great recreation of Kirby Superstar, though some of the text boxes obscure a lot of the gameplay. Speaking of the gameplay, I don't like it. It's inspired by KrmaL gameplay, but it's not done in a way that's fun or interesting. It just looks annoying. The song is fine, I don't have any strong opinions on it. For as cool as Halberd is, it has a lot of bad stuff in it.
Okay, we need another flashy glow level. This one has to be really short for no reason, though.
Let me see here, caution?
Perfect, okay, next step. We need to apply napalm.
Napalm is pretty cool. For a first mega collab, Marwick knocked it out of the park. The level has a great industrial theme, and the gameplay is phenomenal. It's well synced and very satisfying. My one complaint is how flashy the level is. It's absolutely brutal on the eyes. If this wasn't so damn flashy, Napalm would be one of my favorite Extreme Demons, but regardless, it's still a great level.
So you know that video I made on the evolution of generic Geometry Dash levels?
Yeah?
I need you to go and make an Extreme Demon using the manufactured Adiel style.
Okay, anything else?
Make it flashy for no reason.
What do you think I am, stupid? Every level has to be flashy for no reason.
Forbidden Isle isn't flashy.
What?
Forbidden Isle is cool. Should it be an Extreme Demon? Probably not, but who cares? Forbidden Isle feels inspired from Anubis's old levels like El Dorado, and that's pretty cool. The island jungle theme is captured well with a limited object count, and the gameplay is solid. The song fits the level well, and is pretty catchy. Even though it probably shouldn't be an Extreme Demon, Forbidden Isle is still a cool level.
Okay, I made that generic level you wanted. I named it Frightful Melody.
That is the stupidest name I have ever heard, and I am named Britdarg.
Alright, well, what would you have named it?
Scary song?
See, we're both bad at making names.
Whatever, man. Just go buff a hard demon to extreme demon difficulty for the next step.
I don't like Daydream because the gameplay doesn't seem like it was made with the Extreme Demon difficulty in mind. Rather, it feels like someone hastily buffed a medium or hard demon to extreme, and we all know those turn out awful.
Alright, we need 6 doses of glow extreme demons.
Ah, lucky you say that. We have exactly 6 left.
What are they?
Incandescent, Aurora, Galactus, Precipitace, Thanatophobia, Eternal Star, and Aurora.
Those all fit the bill for generic worthless garbage. Get applying. Meanwhile, I'm gonna start the process to wrap this thing up. Hand me a Gyron inspired level.
What will Torsion do?
Version's great. It stays the same a little bit too long, but it's really fun and really well decorated.
I'm learning a lot about what levels I should play. Is Truth the Stars 2 any good?
Have you seen a video of it?
No.
And I understand. Only people who haven't seen To the Stars 2 would think it's a good level.
Okay, what about Gold Crest Palace? Is that also generic garbage? I mean, Yakum Nugget verified it, so it has to be a generic low level.
You deal in absolutes way too much.
Goldcrest Palace is very cool. Made entirely in the 1.9 editor, the level is really detailed and looks amazing. The gameplay is also very cool, with a lot of duels using only what was available in the 1.9 era. The song is also good and feels straight out of 1.9 as well, as ENV's songs were the most prominent in that era. Grenade of Tacos is one of the best creators, and I can't wait to see what more he does with the 1.9 editor.
So yeah, that's why I like Goldcrest Palace.
Huh. And and by the way, I'm dying.
Oh crap, we need Omicron to stabilize him.
All I've got is Pherom Frenzy.
Oh, that's finished Omicron. It should work just fine. Okay, now that the liver is a bit swollen, we need some nostalgia to stop that. Do you happen to have Maroon 5's payphone?
You know what? I've just given up on what we're trying to do at this point.
Our fountain is weird. It nails the idea of painful nostalgia very well, but the gameplay and decoration both have their flaws. The gameplay feels like a Cron 44 level at times, but at others feels like a 9 Circles level or a very slow cognition. The decoration also doesn't look great. It's a lot of core for the block design mixed with cool space backgrounds. The effect of the last wave looks cool, though it does hurt my eyes as it is a 9 Circles effect by technicality. Not much else here. It's not amazing, but it's better than some other levels inspired by KrmaL and Cron.
You know what I hate?
What?
How these newfangled social media platforms are corrupting our volumes.
Don't you mean youths?
I say what I say again, damn it.
Corrupted volume is cool. I'm not sure how the cave theme relates to volume, but it's still cool, especially for a first level. I don't like how sudden the song switches to the drop, but beyond that, the level is very cool. The gameplay is a tad too confusing for my liking, but it's still great. Give this level more attention. It's really good.
We need 4 super flashy levels, now!
Optic Daydream, Olon, CMYK, and Geourbix?
Thank you, let's start to wrap this thing up.
Oh, I also have Broken Signal. Should I add that also?
No, give that to me. It's really flashy, but it needs to be put elsewhere since it's different from the other ones. Okay, we got 3 steps left. Tesseract, Shape of the Sun, and Meltdown.
Tesseract is a really cool tech-themed level. My only complaint is how wide the range of part quality is. Some parts feel very bare bones, and other parts feel alive with technology. The gameplay is cool, nothing too special, and the song is also nice. Go play this, as it's very unknown and underrated. Shape of the Sun is weird. It's quite empty, but the gameplay seems cool. It probably isn't rate-worthy, but who cares, it's another extreme to add to the pile.
Okay, finally, Meltdown.
Meltdown as in Tantrum or Meltdown as in Nuclear Power Plant Explosion?
I don't know, man, the level has no theme.
Meltdown is cool. The level feels sort of like a throwback to 1.9, but also feels mechanical. The gameplay here is very good and very consistent in difficulty throughout. Not much else to say here. Darwin makes good levels and this is no exception.
Okay, we finished. Oh my god, I think he's okay.
Wow, we actually did it.
Yeah, I feel really accomplished. Say, does feeling lightheaded mean you've accomplished something?
No?
Oh crap, I'm starting to fade away off screen.
What? Oh my, I am too.
I guess since we were able to save your life, our timeline no longer exists.
Man, I was really hoping to go to Walmart and buy off-brand tennis shoes after this.
Wait a minute. He gets a cookie after the operation.
I'm still sad I don't get a cookie.
We're about to be erased from existence, and the most pressing issue on your mind is the lack of a cookie in your mouth.
Enjoy the small things in life, man.
Wait! Oh, dude, listen to me. I don't have much time. I'm you from the future where you die, and we just prevented that future. So I'm about to fade away from existence, but I still want these videos to be made. Take these scripts and make these videos, please. Wait, what? How did you do this? Who are you? It doesn't matter. Just make these videos. Okay? You're alright, 14-year-old Brit.
What happened?
Oh, Julie, okay?
Yeah, I think.
Wanna go make some stupid videos?
Yeah.